You gotta fucking put it past the fucking light, though, man. The light takes away a lot. Well, actually, no, it looks good. Fuck it.
I'm so pissed off. Oh, actually, I like it.
You pissed me off. Actually, it's not that bad. Good job, bud.
Well, hang on. Just wait. If you don't like it, just wait.
I'm so happy to have you as my producer. I love that light so much.
And now it's gone.
Is Carlos, his friends call him Los. Los?
That's right.
I do tend to explode only when by myself.
What's the big deal? That you
Touched
did
a
that?
man's trash can.
Bro.
Right now, I'm committing a Schedule 1 felony. Allegedly. It's bullshit.
He's the mole, dude. He's got the mole in the base of his cock, dude. It's fucking like a hole.
Mom, you are a horrible human being.
She's being
You know what? Why
right.
don't you die from breast cancer? or
Breast
something?
cancer.
Wow.
No, you take that back.
That's usually, it's, hey, I'm so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. I'm also a Mormon.
But in the event of an emergency,
Fucking love
your
our new
regular
intro.
exit might not be the
Here we go.
quickest or safest way.
Yeah, where'd you find all these hilarious clips?
There's no way out. There's no way out.
Oh, that's right. Now is the time to open your mind. In our search for the unknown, who knows what we will find? This is Emergency Exit. This is episode 66. Today is February 19th. We are broadcasting to you again from our floating tin can. Far above the world. I am
Every
your
time.
host, Los.
Every time.
Yeah?
With me, as always, is Nick, the Passion Rider,
Fucking A.
and Brandon, the Hard Hat Mitchell.
I am here.
Welcome back, gentlemen. Well, I do have some bad news.
Uh-oh.
I lost my job at the can crushing place recently.
Nah, fuck.
Oh, god damn it.
It was so depressing. This week, we are going to the edge of the earth with a genuine flat earther to see what makes them tick. Later, we're going to talk about school shooting,
Batteries.
gun control in the news. But first, let's do the Brew World Order.
It's the Brew World.
That's right. We got a beer today. And because we're talking about flat earthers, we grabbed a beer called the Southern Star. Well, that's actually by Southern Star Brewing
Southern Star
Company.
Brewing,
It's
yes.
called the Summer
Brewery.
Saison. The Summer Saison by the Southern Star Brewing Company. I want to get that all right when I say that in one thing. Man, it's suiting because it's our definite proof of a a
Right.
round Earth.
We have yet to have it been.
Excuse me.
Disputed.
I keep saying
Jesus.
round Earth, proof of a round Earth. A flat round Earth could happen too. A ball Earth is
Globe.
what I want to say.
A
there.
globe.
It's a globe. Thank you.
Heliocentric model.
So we're gonna crack it up. This is a Saison slash farmhouse ale. It's the same thing. Farmhouse ale is like the new adaptation of saying a Saison. So we're gonna crack it open here. So here we go. Excellent. Alcohol by volume is 5.5. We're gonna go ahead and cheers
Which
to
ain't
that.
too shabby.
It's a regular old
It
thing.
ain't shabby,
You know,
no.
it's in there. So let's hear if you can hear this.
That tastes like beer.
Excellent. So now that we've taken a taste, Nick, we're gonna pass it to you. You got 3 criteria. You got the aroma, taste, and your official rating.
I don't know about aroma.
What do you think? How do you think it smells?
I can't. Again, all I smell is aluminum can.
Yeah, this is flawed. Give us your regular rating. Tell us how you like the beer. If you
I
don't like
actually-
it, give us a rating.
I do like the taste itself. I'm not a fan of the aftertaste. Like after you take it and it sits in your mouth a bit. I don't like the linger.
I think perhaps they do that so that it reminds you, it keeps it in your mind. Like, hey,
Oh, I need to drink again. I
Yeah,
gotta drink again. I
you
gotta
had
drink
to
again.
Get rid of that taste.
But I do like the initial taste very much. It's actually really good up front. It's just its ass end. It tastes well like ass.
But I
you
mean,
know,
what would
I'm-
you
I'm
expect
sure
the ass
dirty
end
shit
of it to
water.
taste like?
I'm pretty sure dirty shit water.
I mean,
if
we've
you just
talked
plugged
about
your nose and did
we've
it.
talked about some tongue punch in a fart box on this show before. So
I've
we're
heard that
familiar with
before.
ass eating. So, I'm actually I'm gonna go a little high here.
Go for it.
I'm gonna give this a 4.1.
A 4.1?
I really enjoy it. I feel it's smooth. It's very drink. The only thing is, as it kind of goes, that aftermath left on your tongue, I'm not a fan of. But it's light. It's very, very drinkable,
Affable.
and the initial taste is delicious.
Great rating, man. Would you say 4.1? Mm-hmm. Jesus, that's up there.
I really like it. It's just that, God, the ass of it. The south end of that cow's
It would have got
ass.
a better rating with an ass.
Without the ass.
Without the
No
ass.
ass.
Or better ass.
Yeah.
Or a better ass, yeah.
Hard hat. What do you got to say about this beer?
When I drink it, it strikes me. Hang on.
He's gonna take a sip.
It strike like that.
He's tasting it.
It doesn't have much of a taste, honestly. It just it's carbonated, like I feel it. It's cold, it's bubbly, but I can't taste any hops, or it's not very hoppy.
What do you
Maybe
do?
that's why I like the taste of it, because
Wait a
it's
minute.
not like
What do you do? Eat
aggressive.
cocks? You have no sense of smell? Or
I
some
mean,
shit? Come on.
I'm not stopped up. I can smell.
You ever stop to smell the roses? I can't fucking smell.
So I don't know. It doesn't have a. So I'm not sure what the ass in that the passion is talking about, but it is very drinkable. It's very light. But I'm gonna give it like a 3.2.
A 3.2.
Yeah.
Oh, just like the
It's-
percentage of gas station beer in my home state.
Oh man, reaching way back there.
Well,
Or
okay.
every single beer
But-
you will ever get anywhere in the state of Oklahoma.
But hang on. So what?
Fuck you,
what
Oklahoma.
real quick, what is a size on? Because maybe if I knew what a size off is, I would have something to compare it to.
Oh, God, do we have a rim
And-
shot on our soundboard?
Here, give him some clap.
But
in there.
Alright.
tis.
Threw that one out there.
Saisons are sturdy
I
sturdy
think he knows
farmhouse
that was just
ale
for the joke.
that
No,
are
I
tragically
don't know.
Are you guys listening?
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're traditionally brewed in the winter to be consumed throughout the summer months. Not so long ago, it was close to being an endangered style, but over recent years, there's been a massive revival, especially in the US.
And the us.
And
I'm
the-
glad
alright.
because my favorite beer at our commutative favorite brewery here in Austin, Adelbert's, is a Saison.
Yes.
So I'm glad
And
that this
you love that high
the hibiscus Saison
That
is just
man.
The high
it's-
side,
That's a
dude.
good one.
it is the
When,
tits.
when we go up to the bar, we say, "Can I get a high side?" That's right.
They know what we're talking about.
here's
Actually,
Happy-
we started calling it a biscuit.
Here's something from beeradvocate.com. This is a very complex style. We're talking about saisons and farmhouses, by the way, which are the same thing. If you hear farmhouse ale, you hear saison, you're hearing the same thing. And it's a very
Interesting.
complex style. Many are very fruity in their aroma and flavor. They look earthy. Look for earthy yeast tones.
Like an infection?
It's weird when they say that yeast. I think when you hear yeast and when it comes to beer, it's like you want to taste like a bread. You want to taste some sort of,
Right, because who doesn't love bread?
Oh, I love bread.
Of course.
Fresh
Everybody
fucking
should.
bread?
If you don't love bread, something
You're
fucking
fucking
wrong
dumb.
with you.
But then you have the earthiness, so you're gonna it's dirty a bit. That's what earthy always meant to me. Dirt, literally earth, dirt, right?
Right.
But then you have the aroma of the fruit. You got that coming to you. So it's mild and moderate tartness as well. Lots of spice with medium bitterness. So that's why I didn't have that strong. Like we're doing. We're also drinking Buckethead here
Yeah.
from last week. And
Some leftovers.
dude, that sits there,
Isn't
right?
it great that he makes us go first blind and he gets to fucking do all the research and be like, oh, I have all the fucking info on this shit.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what
but
makes this
it's.
show
I mean,
good.
it's not like you don't have access to it. You could just as
Exactly.
easily pull it up
What do you
too.
mean?
So
like
I'm
there's
just
a device in my pocket that has access to all the information in the world? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I'm just
Well,
trying to say.
it's no, because it's on the desk right there in front of you. I'm looking at it.
I'm just trying to say that this beer, it tends to be semi-dry,
I dig it. I like
Okay,
it.
I get that.
I'm a fan of this one.
only having a touch of sweetness as well. That's what I gotta say.
I feel like
Coming straight from the beer advocate, I am not coming up
Coming-
with any of this myself. Thank
coming
you.
from the craft beer world, I feel this is one you could shotgun, and you can't do that.
Oh,
with many craft
definitely,
beers.
definitely. If this didn't
Like this
have
is a
quite as
chuggable, slammable beer.
yes.
I think it's a little step above that, but
if
No,
this,
I mean that's not what you want to use it for, but it's possible with this more than like craft beers. Like this is.
I'll agree with that. It's possible, and it's
This
not
is something you
wanna
could
do, but
play
it's
drinking games
if
with.
you found
This
yourself in
is-
a situation when you had to shotgun a beer,
Right.
I'm going with the summer saison.
over,
But
yeah.
but hang on, if it didn't have quite as much bubbly in it, it could be like a sparkling wine, or even like none. It could be a wine. It does have that hint of sweetness that you mentioned, Los.
yeah, like it's got this dark undertone, but it came in sweet. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
great. I like it.
yeah.
I like it a lot.
Therefore,
I like it.
your boy Los is going to give a 4.7 on the That's
All
Right.
right.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's the brewer order.
It's the
I want to hear
blue
back from people about like if they're just listening, like I don't care. Fucking move
Anyone
on.
want to guess what Beer Advocate rates this beer out of 22 ratings? They also go by a 5 rating. I'm pretty
they
sure.
go- okay, a
I'm
5-point
pretty sure
scale?
it's a 5-point that's right scale, but they don't say that. It just says 5. So I'm.
Oh
assuming-
yeah, copyrighted.
Use-
We'd sue the fuck out of them if
yeah.
they did.
Yeah,
well, they
yeah.
don't want to say that, but obviously they haven't been. around as long as
This
us.
one I would say on Beer Advocate, I'm gonna say they went 3.6.
Do we have a phone call
Oh,
coming in?
the Real News Online. So,
Oh,
buddy.
no!
Oh,
Get him on here real
wait.
quick.
that may have been a butt dial.
Okay, but
May have been a butt dial.
Never mind. We'll cut that
All
out. Don't
right.
worry about that. He's about
Edit
to be on
point.
the. He's about to. We're about to interview him. He's probably calling a little prematurely. So what did you say, Beer Advocate?
I think they put a 3.6.
3.6, not bad.
3.6. I'm not familiar with Beer Advocate, but I'm gonna follow
Beer
prices.
snobs. Think about people who are gonna rate beers. All right.
Oh.
Those are people
This
who
is
are.
what they do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was gonna go Prices Right rules and go 3.7.
We're gonna go ahead and give it to my homeboy right here.
Yes.
3.78. Because
Oh!
they do some like. They do
So-
what I used to do, just like as many decimals as you fucking want. Dude.
So
You
I don't get to grab a $100 bill out of your
don't
pocket.
get the. It's actually I think $500. No, it is.
Is it
a
$500?
No, it's just a $100 bill if you
It's
get like
been
right on.
100, yeah.
100? That's
Yeah.
it.
Just get a $100
Yeah,
bill.
but you get to grab it out of Bob Barker's jacket.
Well, now Drew carries.
That's not Prices
True,
Right.
true.
No,
That-
Drew carries has
that's-
prices right now.
That's something different.
Well, hey guys,
That's where the
Price is Wrong?
universe split.
Oh.
we're about to
Mandela
do.
effect.
Let's get into the next topic, you guys. Here
All
we
right,
go.
right.
Oh, here.
Hit the reset button.
I want to use this music right here. Nope.
Yeah, what the
Yeah,
fuck are
there
you
we
doing,
go.
man?
The flat Earth. Is it a silly notion to believe that the Earth appears flat, therefore it is? Where is the curve? Have the scientists, NASA, and other government agencies been lying to the unsuspecting and vulnerable public, you
No.
and me? Some believe gravity doesn't exist. Some believe a dome. Most believe in an ice wall that encapsulates our isolated and flat Earth. And all were taught in school about the heliocentric model, and all rejected. But why? With all the evidence of the globe, what sort of credible proof do they have against it? Today, we get an opportunity to talk with a flat earther to get these answers addressed. You ready, dog? Today.
Ready
we
like
speak-
Freddy.
Yeah, today we will speak to Brian Staveley from the realnewsonline.com. So let's go flirting.
We gon' flirtin'. Science is a lie. We gon' flirtin'. There's a dome in the sky. We gon' flirtin'. The Bible is why we gon' flirtin'.
But let's get into flat Earth. We didn't really properly introduce ourselves to you, man. That's me. I'm Los. I'm Carlos. I'm the one that interacted with you to get you on here. And then you've got Nick Ryder to my
Hello.
left. He's the passion. And then to my left is going to be Brandon, the hard hat, and Mitchell.
On
That's
your
right.
left?
On my right.
There you
And
go.
then Nick's on my left.
Directions are hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There's only two.
I'm excited,
Well,
dude. I'm excited to have someone that knows what they're talking about. Finally, we've had flat earthers on. I had originally back in episode 10, I think I interviewed David Weiss, and I wasn't too versed on my my flat Earth, and he told us a lot about it, which was great. And so ever since then, we've been talking about it. We are definitely not believers of the flat Earth. We have our own proofs against the proofs that are presented. But what brought you initially to the flat Earth theory, and then what do you consider credible information?
What brought me to the flat Earth theory was after 9/11, and then after these other events, such as Gabby Giffords, Sandy Hook, all these
Oh,
other
no, you totally
events that I
cuss up a
all
storm,
these
sir.
other events that I view as hoaxes. I know you guys might have mixed opinions on some of those. I decided to take a look at the moon landings, because moon landing is kind of like, even though it's not not accepted. It's almost like a mainstream conspiracy. Everybody's heard of it growing up.
Right.
So in 2012, I decided to take a look at the moon landing with the eyes that I now have, to look for video fakery, to look for wire harnesses, green screens, Hollywood techniques, and things like this. And it was all over the Apollo footage, from shadow issues to seeing them literally being picked up on wire harnesses, to the impossibility of the equipment that they say they used to get up there. So after looking into Apollo, which really, it took me about a weekend to be convinced. And I'm not saying I researched it for a weekend. I looked at it for years. But after the first weekend of digging into Apollo, I mean, I knew that it was fake. So then I started looking into satellites, the ISS, pretty much anything else space related. I wasn't looking at flat Earth yet. But then in 2014, I stumbled across a video. It was about the plane routes in the southern hemisphere and how they're all wrong, and not only that, how they were all disappearing off GPS. So I started researching that a lot, because it didn't really make any sense to me. Well, why would these planes disappear off GPS? And then if you look at the flights in the southern hemisphere, and this is before I even knew what the flat Earth was. I mean, you hear it as a little kid or whatever. But the layovers aren't making any sense. Flights that are leaving, say, South America, like Santiago, Chile, to get to Sydney, Australia, they're making detours and layovers up in Dubai. They're making detours in London, New York City.
Well, you know why
4,000 miles.
You know why they're doing that, though, right? Yeah, they got to make more money. They're picking up more people to make more money.
I've flown from Kansas to Alabama and had a layover in Denver.
Do you think they would waste $8,000 in jet fuel to pick up a few more passengers rather than just schedule less flights?
They will make that up in the passengers.
No,
they
because
pick
there are
up.
already enough people just going straight to London or straight to Dubai, and they're piggybacking on that and then putting on another one. Like, I've had layovers that make no goddamn sense. Granted, on a much smaller scale because it was all in the United States, but you're just piggybacking off of flights that already exist.
Yes, but now you'll notice that it's not just, I'm not talking about a layover here and there. It's every time. You can't get a direct flight from those distances.
Well, how many people are flying directly on a regular basis from, like, South America to Sydney? Like, is that
probably not much? Yeah,
probably not much. So there's not much
that's
demand
that's
for
why
them.
they do that.
But wouldn't it make more sense to go the other direction? From South America, would it make more sense to go west? And skip going east and happen to lay over in London?
South America to Sydney or Sydney to South America, those nonstop flights do not exist. They don't let you take those flights because it's too far. On a flat Earth, not on a globe, on a flat Earth, the southern hemisphere is the outer ring.
Right.
That flight that would normally be like 12 hours or whatever it is now like 16 hours, and the plane doesn't have the fuel capacity to even make it that far. So what they'll do is, and they literally will hide all the flights in the southern hemisphere so people aren't catching on to their trick. So then I started to look, that's when I started to really look more into the flat Earth. Now, there's a million ways I could go with the flat Earth, but I'll make one point real quick, and then I'd like you guys to actually tell me what you think proves the globe, and I'll tell you why it's mistaken.
That'd be great.
In my opinion, okay? Because I know you probably have some things that slam the flat Earth shut, right?
Yeah, I might.
Let me ask you this, right?
Sure.
They say the Earth spins at 1,038 miles per hour at the equator. Okay.
Right.
So that would mean west to east, the Earth is spinning, we'll say 1,000. It's spinning 1,000 miles an hour. If I'm flying from Los Angeles, say I'm flying from Boston to Los Angeles, the ground is going to be racing at me at 1,000 miles an hour, and I'm doing 500 miles an hour towards it. How is my return flight going to be the same amount of time when I'm doing 500 and the Earth is doing 1,000 miles?
It isn't, though.
When
I've flown out to Hawaii from LA, it took 8 hours. The flight back took like 6.5.
Yeah, but they're still similar. They're not vastly different. Like, one's not an hour and a half and one's not 5 hours.
And also, Brian, you have to consider that when
that has to do with wind currents and stuff.
When
it's slightly different by an hour or so.
So, Brian, when you got to consider, like, when you hear 1,000 miles an hour, like, that's like from like an observer that's in space. Now, for us, that means nothing. It's zero to us. Now, if you consider 1,000 miles an hour, You know that the Earth spins like once every day, and that one
How's
spin
it zero? How can it be zero to us? If you're
to
standing on a
us,
ball,
it's the
right,
same way when
and
you're in a
it's
car and you don't feel very much. The only thing you feel is the decrease in the acceleration.
You feel
That's
when the
we
speed
feel it.
changes, but when you're going
But
along.
your car's enclosed. Your car has a roof on it.
Okay,
Take
the
roof
Earth
off,
still
you
has a very,
have an
very large,
atmosphere.
thick atmosphere that contains
Several-
everything.
several different,
That's why clouds travel.
Yeah, it's not just like
Okay, so are we saying then the atmosphere moves with the Earth? Is that what we're saying?
well, no,
Yeah.
it's a sort of a, if you want to call it a dome, but it's not a physical dome. It's something made of gases
fine.
and things
It
that are
doesn't
compressed
have to
and
be physical,
and
but
held together by
is it moving with
gravity.
the Earth? Okay, let's say gravity is what's holding it on, and it's moving with the Earth, and it's not a physical dome. It's the layers of gases of atmosphere, or whatever we want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to the Earth spinning. And now you're not standing on the ground. You're in an airplane. Say the Earth is spinning west to east 1,000 miles an hour, and I'm flying an airplane north to south, and I'm going to land on a north-south runway, and the ground is coming 1,000 miles an hour at me sideways.
It's
How am I
not
gonna
though.
land that
No,
plane?
it's not. It's not.
Because you're.
That's
It's not.
you know when
I
you
know it's
wait-
not because it's stationary and it's not moving.
No, you think that it's moving 1,000 miles an hour. Remember, it rotates one time a day. That one rotation is
Yes.
1,000 miles an hour all the way around for several hours, 24 hours it happens. But to
Well,
an
you're
outside
wrong. You're
observer, it
wrong
happens.
Because the circumference of the Earth is 24,901 miles. That's 1,038 miles per hour every hour to make up that 24,000.
Well, either
It's not 1,000 split up over a day. It's 1,000 miles per hour every
no,
hour.
yeah, I'm not trying to say it's like one. It's like that's happening, but I'm saying that spin 1,000 miles. When you're in orbit, that's 1,000 miles. It's the same as like when you're driving, down the freeway. Let's say you're going 80 miles an hour down the freeway, and you look at the moon or maybe let's say the clouds. Let's say they're closer. They don't move as fast away from you like the stuff that's closer to you because it's further away.
That'd be they just appear to not move as fast. They're still moving at same speed.
Exactly, and you're
They just,
going
because of the
so
distance, and you get into weird stuff with the parallax angles and stuff like that. But that's I got you.
You get what I'm?
So parallax. Speaking of you brought up parallax. You know what parallax is in relation to the stars, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yes.
So parallax would be, over the course of time, the stars would appear to move because.
In relation to where you're standing,
Yes, but how come for thousands and thousands of years people have been able to navigate using the same stars, and the stars they do move, during the year, but how come every year they're back in the same spot and there is no parallax?
Well, because it takes us a year to get around the sun, and
Well,
that's when
also,
we get back to it.
when you're talking about how many billions of years old things are, 1,000 years is.
Yeah, all the stars have changed by then. The
it's
northern
not-
star's not
no.
the same as it was before.
He's saying, why is it still the same? Like.
No, I'm saying why is it still the same? And you're saying because what? Because it takes a year to go
they're
around or
so
whatever, but
far
we're not just
away,
moving in
these
a circle.
stars.
Right.
NASA says we're moving in a spiral, and we're moving 2.3 million miles. Our galaxy is moving 2.3 million miles in a straight direction as we revolve.
I don't
around
think
the
you're
sun and all
understanding
that.
the scope of things. Like, on a cosmic scale,
Which is
that
huge.
means nothing. That's like us seeing the
Why does it
clouds.
mean nothing. How can you just write it off? They're not in our galaxy.
It's not
They're in a
writing it
different
off.
galaxy.
Okay,
It's
no,
just in
what I'm saying is
comparison.
they're so far away that we don't notice them moving. Just the same way when you're in your car, you don't notice the clouds moving sometimes, or the moon, or whatever.
And
like,
also,
you're
wait,
so
hold a second.
far away from it.
But also remember,
But they're
we're
not so far away.
hold up a second.
But they are.
Brian,
far away to
they're
make
far
up that
away from. They're
excuse.
far away, but we're also moving. We're an ever expanding universe, so they're not staying in place either. They're not going to get any bigger. They're going to stay,
No, I'm not
and we're
saying they are,
expanding
but
with
if
them
they're not moving the same similar direction as us, how are they in the same spot every year?
because
if-
they're
if
that
we're
far
moving-
away.
Because we're coming back to that same spot every year.
We're coming back to that same spot, and they're that far away that it seems that way. Just like when we're driving, and you
Well,
see
also
the
the
moon,
light- by the time
moon
that-
But we're
stays in the
not
same
coming
place.
back to the same spot. What you're saying is not what NASA tells you. That is not what the story is. The story is you even said we're an ever-expanding universe, and our galaxy and our solar system is moving millions of miles and never coming back to the same spot. those stars are not in our galaxy. So how did they?
They're
lined
moving.
up
They're
perfectly
moving with us. They're going. They're
Not the
expanding.
entire universe is what he's saying.
But
The
what-
things
No, that's
outside
not
of
the
us.
Hold up a
story.
second. But
That's not their story.
the stars that we see are from the Milky Way galaxy, which is
Yeah.
going into some sort of black hole. It seems like you've seen it before. It's this big old thing that.
That's true. The stars we see are in our same
Yeah,
galaxy.
they're-
That
at
is
least with our
moving
with
us.
the
And
naked
That's
eye,
right.
what that they've used
And-
for navigation are the stars in our galaxy.
And they're rotating with us into the same Milky Way galaxy. That's why we see the same stars, because they're in the same galaxy that we're in, which is moving the same direction. Mm-hmm. Boom. So tell me.
I have to disagree with that.
That's
But
fine.
okay,
We
give me-
can agree to disagree,
That's-
my man.
yeah.
That's all. That's what we're all here about. Agree to
Yeah,
disagree.
that's cool.
So you told us you don't believe in satellites or the ISS or any of the things that they do.
Nope.
So you're not a fan of the SpaceX and the Roadster they threw up
Well,
there.
hang on. I want to bring up the ISS. So a couple months ago,
Go ahead.
it was visible coming, passing over here in Austin, and I visibly now, I can't say yes that was the ISS because
But
I'm
you
having
saw a
to
dot.
rely. Yes, but I did see something streak across the sky. It was obviously not a falling star. Like I've seen those. Like so, I just want to hear
Yeah.
from you what was it?
Sure. One last thing. I just want to make one more point, though. Remember how you did say, but because those stars, they seem to be back with us every year because they're in our galaxy. They're in the Milky Way.
Mhm.
They are not in the Milky Way. The North Star is in a completely different galaxy. It's in the Ursa Minor galaxy.
Ooh.
Just so you know, I'm just correcting you on that. Those stars are not in our galaxy, and they are not moving the same direction as us.
Well,
But back
you're
to the,
illuminating something I did not
But
know
is it
about.
in the same position relative to us?
Not if the
Because-
whole
North
galaxy's
Star,
spinning.
yes, it's actually directly above the North Pole all the time, and it never moves.
Well, they say in an X amount of years that it's going to be a different star.
And it's never moved. Yeah, they're gonna tell you in 7,000 years it's gonna be another star.
Yeah, you're
'Cause
right.
we're-
'cause
yeah,
we'll
we're not
never
gonna be
know.
alive,
We'll
yeah.
never know. I mean, you make a great fucking point there. You make a great goddamn point.
And back to
Put a
the-
message
what
in
you
a
were saying
bottle.
About the ISS, this
Yeah.
is very easy. So if you're gonna run a deception on somebody, you're gonna go through all the ends. You're gonna try and do what you can. Now, if I go on TV and tell you, okay, here's a SpaceX rocket launch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I show you something take off into the sky, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I tell you it's going to be over your city, right?
Sure.
And you can get an application. You can get an application on your phone that tells you when it's flying overhead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I fly a high altitude airplane above, and you see an airplane fly above. You can't tell if it's an ISS or an airplane. How does that prove that that's an international space station?
I could
People
very
on it.
much tell it was not an airplane though. I'm a little more familiar with airplanes than the regular person. I mean, I could definitely verify it was not an airplane. So what else could it have been?
What about people with telescopes though? Like
I've seen.
I know you can't necessarily see out into space, see the ISS with like an average backyard telescope, but you could definitely say that's not an airplane.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
Telescopes-
Huh?
Go ahead.
No, telescopes is a good point because telescopes aren't. First of all, they're not nearly as powerful as we're told. We have commercial cameras now that are just as strong as telescopes, so they're not seeing into the depths of space. And I'm not saying
No,
this is-
not a household one. Definitely not into space for sure.
We have pictures of. Okay, so not a household one. So again, we're gonna go by something we can't test, observe, or repeat ourselves. We have to take science's word for it. Now the ISS. Now let me get more into the ISS because when you said it flew over your city and this and that, there have been many people that have studied the ISS. Every time the ISS supposedly does a live stream, and that they're supposedly flying over a city, they will tell you, for instance, okay, we're flying over Colorado, and when they on that day in Colorado, for instance, it'll be a clear sunny day, right? But on the ISS footage, when it shows it flying over Colorado, it's completely cloudy, and you can't make out the distinction of anything. It's totally fabricated footage. There is nobody on an ISS.
Well,
And it
wait a
doesn't
minute,
really
Brian.
take
I'm
much
looking
to
right
look
here.
into.
I looked up ISS at the moon, and I'm seeing a lot of amateur pictures of people that have photographed the moon with their look. They have this camera. What's that camera called there? It's a DSLR. It's a D7000 DSLR, at the prime focus, and I'm clearly seeing. So are these amateur photos faked as well?
I don't have the photos in front of me that you're speaking of, but if there's a picture of an ISS floating in front of the moon, yes. And let me make a point on that, right?
Go ahead.
People photograph the moon all the time, right? For years. Flat earthers or not, people in astronomy or not, just people like to take pictures of the moon. It's cool, right?
Absolutely, it's bitchin'.
We're told there's about 20,000 satellites orbiting the Earth. We can argue the number. You can say 10,000. You can say 15,000.
There's a lot up there.
We're told there's thousands and thousands of satellites orbiting the Earth, right?
Right, you're right.
Show me one picture when you've seen satellites passing in front of the moon.
And I'm glad you mentioned this, because when you look at, let's say you look at the ISS feed and it's looking down at the Earth, do you see cars on the Earth? Because that's about as big as they are.
Not only do you not see cars because that's too far, but you know what else you don't see? You don't see any airplanes. Where's the 7,000 airplanes that are flying above the Earth when you're looking at the ISS footage?
Nice point. Great point there.
There's none. And not only that, when you look at it more, you'll notice that the images that they use of Earth, but there's videos of the Earth where for a long time they didn't even have it rotate at all, and they didn't have the clouds move. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
They got caught by using photoshopped clouds, like stamped in different locations, and you could tell they were the same clouds. So their graphic artist actually came on TV in his own words to try and gatekeep the information. He had to admit the picture was altered. He wasn't going to say it was a completely fabricated picture. This is what he said. He said, "Oh well, the Earth's too big, so we have to take ribbons of imagery, stitch them together, so it is photoshopped, but it has to be."
Yes, well, that's right.
Yeah, does that not make sense?
So how do we have pictures of planets that are millions of miles away? Why can't we turn one of those things around and
because
take a picture of Earth?
Because they're millions of miles away, and if you're taking pictures from like the ISS or even a space station, you might be 150 miles up, right?
Okay,
so in order
what
to
about
get
the
like
one they took a year ago, 1,000,000 miles away with the Japanese Himurawi satellite, and it was supposed to be exactly 1,000,000 miles away, and you could see the whole Earth.
And that's exactly
fake ass CGI moon.
See, that's the thing. So there's two satellites out there that will show you live images of the ball Earth, and the first one is the Himahari 8, which is still up there, and it hovers over the Japan and the Asias right there. It stays in that orbit, and it gives you a real live picture every 10 minutes. You'll get a brand new one every 10 minutes.
Have you watched and you believe that that's real?
Well, why would they lie? Because first of all, Japanese would love to fucking get back at us for fucking bombing the shit out of them in World War II.
You watched it?
Yeah, I'm watching it. We're watching it right now. Actually, we have it on the big screen here.
You think that gray lifeless rock that's passing in front of it is really the moon?
Well, we haven't. We're not. The moon's not passing in front of it at the moment, but we're getting pictures of it.
And when you watch it, if you use what they tell you that the sun is what lights up the Earth, right?
Right.
So if you're seeing the moon pass in front of the Earth and the Earth is lit and the sun is behind the moon, how is the backside of the moon dark? It should be lit because the sun's behind it. The whole picture's wrong. It makes no sense.
I haven't seen it. I can't speak to it. So what do you have to say about the Epic satellite? Well, I guess it's NASA, so I know what you're going to say. But there's an Epic satellite that's out there that's doing the same thing. It's taken a full live picture of the Earth in real time. Well, sort of real time, but we get a full blasted picture of it. We're spinning the globe right now, and it looks pretty good to me. I mean, you could say CGI. You can't prove that it's not CGI. Well, everything's sort of computer-generated images these days anyways, but these are live pictures from a satellite that they're bringing to us, and you're going to say it's CGI, and we're going to argue against it. There's really it's kind of a no man's land, I guess. We can go back and forth all day, but let me ask you about eclipses. We can predict them through the heliocentric model.
Yes, sure.
What is what are eclipses then?
Good point. And when did the heliocentric model become very, very popularized?
Well, as soon as it was something that came out to be, like Galileo, and we're talking about 500, 600 years ago, it was proved to be.
Exactly. No, exactly. You're right. And so the heliocentric model, it was mentioned before, but around the time of Columbus, Galileo, 1500, around there, right? That's when it became very popularized. But so if your point is, okay, we can predict eclipses, but you also know that they were predicting eclipses accurately for thousands of years before that, when there was no heliocentric model. So
Okay,
what does
but
that tell you?
people still knew, like, the discovery and the measure of the circumference of the Earth was done thousands BC. Like, it's been something that has been known.
To me, it tells me they were predicting eclipses, and then they just kept predicting them, but credit it to the fact that the Earth is a ball now.
Okay, but the Earth, the Earth being a ball isn't something that just came about 500 years ago. Like, that's something that.
I know.
Right.
When was it mostly popularized? Yeah, supposedly Aristophanes supposedly proved it in 200 BC, but that is also a flawed experiment.
Yes, because I know the
I mean,
argument.
he was pretty spot on.
But yeah, however, you have to change. You have to change where the sun's position is to prove that, and that's you can't prove that the sun's that far away. And if you use trigonometry, you can absolutely prove how far away the sun is. But that trigonometry doesn't work the same. So that math is the only thing that changes is the sun has to be closer. But you can't prove the sun is closer unless you say
You can't prove it's far. How can you prove it's far? How can
through
you prove
trigonometry.
It's
Through trigonometry and the moon phases, you can use the angles at where they're at.
The moon phases. So the moon phases aren't caused by the sun, though, like we're told. If the moon phases
They
were
are.
caused by the sun, okay, you say they are.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
The moon phases are, okay, so the moon phases are caused by the sun. Why? Because the moon reflects the sun's light. Is that why?
It does. Yeah, it does receive the light, and that's what we see.
So how do I see moons sometimes in the daytime on the same side of the sky that aren't full moons?
You know, this is great. I love this.
Okay,
when I get off of work, I keep up with the moon phases a lot, and when it's in the area that I drive home, I've been keeping my eye on it, where it goes, what it does, and it's out all the time during the day, especially when it's a more fuller day. A fuller phase, when it's past the first quarter, and when it gets closer to the full.
That's not always the case, is it? That's not always.
It's not always the case, but it is.
Full.
No, it's always gonna. It's never gonna be like a little. Sometimes it is a crescent, but that is a bright light coming through, and the sky is blue only because the atmosphere can accept the blue rays and everything, and that's also why we see red when we have blood moon, because the red is the last light on the spectrum. It's infrared, and it comes out. It's just different types of lights that happen due to the perspective of where the sun is, and these things wouldn't happen. If the sun was only 33,000 miles in the sky or whatever it's supposed to be in flat Earth.
But that still doesn't answer the question of if the sun is what is illuminating the moon, and the moon is on the same side of the sky as the sun, as it is some days, how is the moon not fully illuminated?
Okay, and think about this. I think it comes down to scale, okay? Like, take, find a lamp, take the shade off, and then, like, turn it on, but put your hand around, like, one side of it and turn it on. Like, the back of your hand is still, it's not going to be pitch black. There's still going to be light just from, like, bouncing around, coming back.
But there's nothing, but your hand's in the way. There's nothing blocking the sunlight going to the moon. Allegedly.
But it's still being lit.
There's not even an atmosphere.
But it's something that's bright in color is still going to reflect light.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why we see the other planets. They're reflecting the light that's received to them. And it's like 30 times away from us. Well, it's its own. Like, if I was to take the moon is a quarter the size of Earth, and it's 30 times away of that size away from Earth. It's like a huge scale. Every time we see pictures, it's like the moon's is so close to the Earth, but it is really, really far away. And for the Earth to block the moon's light, which is, I think is what he's getting at, would be very difficult. That's why there is that one little separate time where we have the lunar eclipse. That's when that happens, you know?
No, what he's saying is, if the sun's on this side, the moon's on this side, and we see the moon because the sunlight is shooting over and bouncing off the moon, or at least illuminating the moon, how is it that you can see it in the daytime, which means it's on the same side of the Earth?
Okay, I see what he's saying. Now I have to ask: is it a full moon, or is it a very crescent moon, and you only see like a first quarter?
a crescent moon. If it was a full moon, I wouldn't have a problem with this argument. Because
Exactly.
the sun would be lighting the moon, but the sun's supposedly lighting the moon, as you say. Then how is it not a full moon when they're up in the sky next to each other? There is no Earth in between causing the shadow to make the crescent on the moon. That's not what's making the crescent. But there is a crescent on the moon, and I'm looking at the sun and the moon, and they're on the same side. Another point too about the reflection of the light. Okay, you guys would agree that the sun emits hot light. The light is hot?
Mm-hmm.
The sun's light, yes.
Okay. Now, when I say this, you're going to be like, oh, well, it's nighttime.
I know where you're going at with this. Go ahead.
How come the moon emits cold light?
The moon doesn't emit light.
Hold
the
up a
moon
second.
is just illuminated. It's not giving
It's
off
not giving off
any
anything.
light. It's just being illuminated. Light is being shown on it.
So I watched this experiment where somebody was they were outside and they had 2 thermometers and they had a shoebox and they go, okay, this shoebox is going to cover up one of the thermometers and then the other one's going to be in the moonlight and we're gonna see what the difference was. So the one that was in the moonlight, which was in the box, got colder by less than a degree. Was about 0.7 of degree. And that was his definite proof that the moonlight was colder.
Because it's not its own light. It's just a rock being illuminated. It's not like a glowing thing giving off any light at all.
Here's the thing. No, but you're missing the point. Here's the point, okay? I understand that. Let's just make up numbers. Let's say the sun, obviously it'd be way hotter, but let's say 100 degrees for an even number. Let's say 100 degrees of the sun hits the moon, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then the moonlight comes down here. It's not going to be 100 degrees, obviously, okay? Because it's going to lose temperature on the way down, whatever. It's not going to be the same as when it bounced off the sun. But what I'm telling you is it has opposite properties. It's actually a cooling light. So in the daytime, let's say you're out in the sun and it's 90 degrees, okay? And then you go in the shade, it's going to be cooler. It's going to be 80 degrees, right? Now, if you're standing in the moonlight, we can call it a full moon if you want, okay? We can call it a full moon. And let's say it's 60 degrees. And then you get out of that moonlight, which is still a light. It's a light shining on you. You get out of the moonlight and step into the shade. How much colder do you think it's going to get?
It doesn't. At least not noticeably that I remember.
Not only noticeably, the temperature is going to rise by as much as 13 degrees. Because it's emitting its own light. It's a cold light.
13 degree.
I don't know that I've ever noticed.
Have you personally
anything like
ever
that.
experienced that?
Have you done the experiments to prove this?
I have not. No, I have not done that experiment yet, but I will be soon. I've seen it done
Good.
many times.
But
Good.
I mean, 13 degrees though. Come on.
That's a drastic
That
change.
is
So,
like there would.
I was-
It is drastic. That should make you think about it and be like, if that's true, that's fucking crazy. And
So
I'm telling
hold up
you,
a second.
it is
So
true.
I was mistaken when I was trying to explain this earlier. So this guy was trying to prove that the moonlight would make things cooler. So he had a shoebox which he put a thermometer in, which was shielded from the moonlight, and he had the other one, and he used his laser thermometer. No, he had these 2 thermometers. He didn't have the laser one. Excuse me. But he was able to show that the one that was out in the moonlight was colder than the other one that was in the shoebox. You know, showing.
But that's not a good that's not a conclusive test, because then you could say the shoebox contained heat, and that's why it's hotter because it had a lid on it. That's a bad experiment.
Yeah, it is a bad experiment.
That's not what I'm saying at all.
Okay,
That's
fine.
the
Fair
easiest
enough. Fair
case
enough.
to say that's a flawed experiment. One more time, I'll just say it real quick. You're in the sun, and it's 90 degrees. You step in the shade, and it's 80 degrees because it's in the shade. It's cooler, right?
Okay.
Now, if the moon is bouncing the sun's light, which is what we're told it does, so it has the properties of the sun's light, so that moonlight reaches us. I'm not saying it's 90 degrees. We can call it 50 degrees. We can call it 60. Let's say it's 50 degrees. Say it's a full moon. You're directly in the moonlight. It's 50 degrees. Now you're going to get out of that light that's illuminating you, whether it's a light bulb in your house or the sun. If you get out of a light and you go into the complete shade, it should get cooler. Whether it's a degree, whether it's not, very really noticeable, or whether it's, 10 degrees like the sun, your temperature is going to rise by as much as 13 degrees because the moon emits a cold light. It's the
I have
opposite of
never
the sun.
ever
noticed
such a thing.
I will disagree on that, but
Yeah,
that's what we're here about.
Notice it. Nobody notices. Nobody notices until you check it out, but it's true.
So, when it comes to NASA, you're not a fan, obviously. But they've invented and they have different technologies that we use every single day. Would you like not accept that if that was something that they invented, or that it was a ripoff of a technology they invented? You know, that sort of lends.
No. I mean, if they invented something on the ground, like their engineers made something that benefited humankind on the ground, would I automatically doubt it? No.
All right.
Why would I?
Because they are.
Here's one more thing. Let me make a point about NASA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because all of this leads back to NASA, and one of the hardest things with people is, oh, you think all these people are lying, or how could all these people keep a secret, blah blah blah. Do you realize that you could be the person that builds the goddamn rocket to go to the moon, and you could still not be in on the hoax? Like, for instance, here's an example I like to use of myself personally, right? Let's say I called you. I don't know where you guys are. Let's pretend you're in California, right?
All right.
Sunny
California.
Doesn't matter where you are. Let's say I call you guys and say, hey, I have a flying car. I'm in Boston right now. My car does 3,000 miles an hour. So I'm going to be in 4,000, however far California is. My car does 3,000 miles an hour. I'm going to fly my car to California. I'm going to be there in an hour, okay? It's going to take me a half a tank of gas because I get 6,000 miles for every tank of gas that I have when I get there. Not only that, listen, I'm going to send you video of the construction of my car. I'm going to Skype you with me sitting in the driver's seat, and then I'm going to call you when I get to California. Does that really mean I have a flying car that does 3,000 miles an hour?
No.
Absolutely not. And that's the same shit NASA does. You use compartmentalization. Say you have a guy that builds a rocket, another guy works on the launch pad, another guy works on
that's
the
how they do it.
That is exactly how they do it, and all they have to do is say you really build a rocket, and they have tons of funding. We give them $53 million every day, so they do build shit and just ditch it in the ocean. It's not like they don't build anything. So let's say I'm the guy that builds the rocket, right? Do you think I'm going to Cape Canaveral? No, I'm probably working in JPL. I'm working wherever I am. That's going to go over to the launch site, and then it's going to get launched, okay? And then when it gets launched, if you ever watch a rocket launch, watch them. They don't even go straight up. They arc out and they disappear over
They have
the ocean.
to, though. You have to understand that's how that has to happen so that they can escape the atmosphere.
Why? Because it's got to go around the curve of the Earth or the escape velocity. There's going to be an excuse for everything.
But even if even if it went straight up, you would eventually see a curve of it because of the perspective of things. And we're on a ball. If it went straight up and you were sitting there, eventually you'll see it curve out. Like if you watch someone do let's say it's a chemtrail, right? And they spray across and it's supposed to be a straight line. Different angles will see a big curve because of the Earth that it's on, and it's moving along with the atmosphere and the clouds and the bullshit.
Well, you told me earlier that the Earth's moving so slow we don't notice it. So how now all of a sudden it's moving so fast that if you shoot a rocket straight up, it's gonna look curved?
No. I've never said that it's moving so
it's just
fast.
a matter of perspective.
But it's a matter of perspective.
The reason
is
the
what
Earth
I'm
looks
saying.
flat to you standing on the surface is because you're so small. Your perspective gives it a flat view, like an ant on a fucking basketball.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
it's not going to see that that's a curved thing it's on.
Not even an ant, dude. A fucking ant's turd.
Tell you the escape velocity is like 17,000 miles an hour. Now, next time you watch a rocket launch, watch what happens. None of the cameras are facing forward as they go through the atmosphere. And what they'll do, they'll show a launch. Sure, there's people at the launch that see something go up and they all cheer. They don't know where the rocket goes. It goes right off the east coast of the United States.
Brian, let's be honest. If there was a camera facing the front, you guys would still deny that was fucking real. I mean, let's be honest. They can give you as many fucking views as you guys want. A 3D fucking view.
They just do it then. Cameras are like $100.
Because they have nothing to prove to flat earthers. They have nothing to prove to you guys.
Yes, they do. We pay for it. We pay for this
space program. You know what? Yes, you guys do. But you guys are about a 0.001% of the whole entire people that actually paid for NASA and want that kind of stuff, want the technology.
It's a shame that other people will just believe them on face value. We should be able to ask these questions.
You're right.
It's very suspicious. It's very suspicious when anytime breaking through the atmosphere would be a very monumental thing for people to watch. People would love to see that.
It was. You know, yeah, we did it.
No, see, that's the thing is that people don't care about that now.
Remember Apollo
The camera
13?
cuts out.
They were like, well, who gives a shit? We've seen it already 5 times. Why do we need to see another fucking Apollo go up, right? But they did it anyways, and then the news didn't even come out till after they were like, oh, these guys are fucked. We might lose some guys in space.
Yeah.
And that's when the news actually came out. Like,
Okay, so then why do they even show us a camera when they're through the atmosphere? What's the point if nobody gives a damn?
because there's still
Why
people
do
that
Because
do
there's
give
a
a
small
damn.
percentage of people that
So
do.
then why make the camera cut? Why do they have to cut the camera?
Well, it's
away
not.
as
Maybe
go
they
into
didn't
the
cut it on
atmosphere? It comes
purpose. I
back to a
mean,
CGI image.
there are disconnects that happen. They are moving. They are very far away, and to trying to transmit such things like that, you're going to have to expect some sort of turbulence in between. We haven't perfected the images where like you're gonna say, oh, you see glitches.
President Nixon can call them on a landline in the 60s from 237,000 miles away with no delay. But we're supposed to believe our cameras can't capture
Wait a minute, who said
Wait.
there was no delay on that? I'm sure there was like a fucking at least a minute delay. But when they're getting it right now, listen, you're getting a 2 or 3 second delay from us, and we're still able to communicate very well. Imagine that times more. You're only hearing what you're getting from us, but when we do speak, you start to get that delay that happens because we're coming in a couple seconds later than you think. This is happening right now.
You're assuming there's a minute delay on that phone call. Go listen to the phone call. There is no delay.
Well, you know what?
Not
I have
if it just
I have to-
recorded one side of it.
He's right. I mean, yeah. Well, if you're recording one side, you're going to hear that. You're not going to hear that delay that we're talking
It's
about.
going to hear the one side of the conversation.
Well, no, if you listen into the conversation back and forth, you can tell there's no delay. They're having a coherent conversation. And just recently, for instance, what they do now is they fake a 13-second delay to the ISS, and they forgot about it one time. Chris Hadfield and another astronaut who was allegedly on the ground, and he was allegedly on the ISS, they sang a friggin' duet with a guitar from the space station while the other one was on the ground singing, and they did it in sync with no delay to a bunch of school children.
Now
They
here,
can't get the story straight.
now, you know what?
Well,
you
hang
have
on,
to understand.
because-
You have to understand how audio works, though, too. I mean, I try to do this all the time with what I'm doing here. I try to make something sync up, and like I can. Once you understand where that is, you can start at the same time. And how do you know that they knew how long that sync is? And one person would start singing, and the other person would take off his headphones so he's not jamming up, and just start singing it at that time to experiment, maybe
Because
when
did it
they
on an
match up.
allegedly live video. It wasn't post-edit, brother. They did it on an allegedly live
No,
video.
you do this stuff
after
live.
many years
That's
of-
what I'm saying. You would do this kind of thing live because they are experimenting, and why wouldn't they try to experiment with delays and how that
Okay,
works?
so why was there no delay this one time, but there was every other time? But when they want to sing a duet,
Let's
there's no delay.
cherry pick one little instance, and like we'll be fine with that, But all these other evidences are like nothing compared to this one cherry pick you got. Like, come on, man.
Well,
like,
as far as like radio delays
Oh,
and
man,
stuff
it's
like
not
that,
about cherry picking. It's about when they make a mistake, and I'm pointing it out. It's not about cherry
but
picking.
if we're
That's
paying them
bullshit.
billions of dollars to do this, why would they even fuck up in the first place? Is what I'm trying to even figure out
We
here.
keep giving them billions of dollars.
I mean, you're
Okay,
right. We just
if
keep
they
giving them.
came out and said, "Hey guys, we went to space. Guess what? The Earth is flat." They would still get billions of dollars to go out and continue exploring space.
Right.
They're exploring fucking space.
Whoa, wait. Space doesn't. Do you believe that there's space?
Okay, I'm just saying, like, they're not there to prove the Earth is round. They're there to explore what exists outside of Earth. So the shape of the Earth doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, especially if especially if for thousands of years, ever since ancient Greece discovered, or the guy put the 2 sticks in the ground and measured the shadows and found out the fucking curvature of the Earth, and so he started thinking it was round. If they went up and decided or saw, holy shit, it's actually flat. Wouldn't that be a huge deal to break, and that would give even more funding to go and explore this more? Like, the fact that this lie is perpetuating for money.
Science, it would discredit all the
Okay, but
educational institutions that they have built
you're
up
saying,
with
like,
trial cause.
NASA isn't getting funding purely to perpetuate the lie of the globe Earth. The globe Earth existed before NASA, and NASA isn't existing to examine the shape of the Earth. It's supposed to examine what's outside of the Earth. So the fact that they only get funding to perpetuate the lie is absurd. I don't get that at all. Like, they could just easily say, "Hey, no, we've been up here. We see that it's flat, and it's flat now, and so let's go on with that because here's our fucking proof."
So, okay, let's go with that. So if they did that, then what happens when I turn around and say, "So what's with all the pictures of the ball Earth that you've been showing us?"
Okay,
for
but
this
if
so
they
why
know,
should we believe you now?
I'm saying if they did this since day one when they first went up into space and saw that it was flat, then they wouldn't have given us ball Earth pictures. They would have just said.
You're talking about a hypothetical that's.
I know. I'm saying. My point is.
Take it easy.
There's no reason for them to have lied about it. They could have just said, "Hey guys, we've been fucking wrong. It's actually flat." And guess what? We would still say, keep going up there and exploring.
You make a great point there.
There's no reason to lie about it. What about all the people that are obsessed with outer space? They want to give money so they can do space exploration.
And okay, so again, they're going out into space. So what's the difference if the Earth is round or flat if they're going out into space?
But they're not going into space. You're missing my point. They're not going. They're not going into space.
Okay, so they can't still keep up the space lie, whether it's flat or round or anything? Like, the two don't have anything to do with each other, so why are they perpetuating this lie that doesn't serve their purpose?
You brought it up about the space. They're going to space, but they're not going to space.
No.
They're shooting rockets several thousand feet up in the air, ditching them in the ocean, and giving you CGI graphics, and they're giving you they're doing spacewalks in underwater.
But hold up, Brian. But you say everything is CGI, but the only thing they admit to doing CGI is the big blue marble. That's the
composite.
That's the only thing that they really admitted. But
I never said they're going to admit it all. I'm saying that's the one thing they had. Do you know what gatekeeping is?
Yeah, I do. Someone that holds a key to the gate.
They had to admit that was CGI as a gatekeeping tactic because they were cloned.
All right, he's getting deep in it.
Clouds.
All right.
They were cloned and pasted clouds that were used that everybody pointed out, hey, this is Photoshop. So at that point, they had to come out and admit that there was Photoshop done on that picture. But to gatekeep, they said, oh, we had to Photoshop the picture because the telescopes aren't far enough away, so we couldn't take a picture of the whole Earth, so we had to cut it up into ribbons and stitch it together with Photoshop. That's the gatekeeping
Well, to get a full shot, but what about the ones that are just like a section or like bit that just show curvature?
Do you know how much terabytes it takes to for one pass and all the information that one pass of the Earth happens? Like when they put it all together, it's terabytes of information which these artists they take from it, and it's like these are real pictures taken from satellites. I mean, you can argue that they're planes or something taking pictures of below, whatever, right? But either way, they're taking these real pictures and putting them together so that we see them, and then they make a ball out of it. But then you have the Himahari 8, you have the Epic satellite from NASA, which are far enough to take a full ball picture of our Earth, and that's still not enough. So let me ask you this real quick: what does your map look like then? What is the flat Earth map look like? Is it close to the AE map? Like I've seen where, and I've seen
yes, very close.
And then how the shoreline that we have in the ball Earth for Antarctica is not going to be as wide as it is for the flat Earth because it encapsulates our flat Earth. So what's the shoreline that you have compared to the shoreline that is actually given from explorers and people that have actually measured the shoreline of Antarctica?
What do I think the shoreline is? You just brought it up. Very similar to what the AE map is. The Antarctica would encircle the whole Earth. Yeah,
but then that would contradict the actual shoreline that has been recorded long before NASA was around. You know, then who's to say? You know what?
Recorded by who?
Well, I mean, there's been projections of our maps for a long time. There's people that are out there. Matter of fact, I just read this article on on the New Yorker of a man that tried to do the same course as one of these guys that crossed over the South Pole. South Pole isn't something that can be found on the flat Earth because South is
a perimeter, not a spot.
It's not a spot. It's the whole outside of the Earth.
And you do realize that you're not allowed to fly over the North or South Pole. You're not allowed to explore. You're not allowed to go.
But
to
that's
the
been
South
done numerous times.
But it's been done. But there's no reason to fly over it.
3 people allegedly in history, and it's all been a fraud. And if you actually go and you know you're gonna say, oh, he's saying it's a fraud. Go and look at the route that they took. They didn't go to the South Pole and come back up on the North. They went down, tagged the ceremonial South Pole, and then they came back up and they got credited with circumnavigating the Earth. You know that there's millions of airplanes that circumnavigate the Earth every year. Okay, they go east to west, west to east, whatever. There's many shortcuts. Say for instance from the bottom of South America to say, bottom part of Australia or something. Instead of taking that long flight we talked about earlier, 16 hours or whatever, you could fly right over the bottom of the globe, 4 or 5 hours, and take a shortcut. Those shortcuts are never taken. They're not allowed. You're not allowed to explore there. You know why? Because you can't fly under the globe.
Maybe it's because you're going to see the pole holes from the Hollow Earth theory.
Yeah, you might see the pole holes. Yeah, you might see those pole holes.
I don't know how much you know about the Hollow Earth theory, but that's, yeah. They also say you're not allowed to do that because you'll see the giant holes where you can go inside the Earth.
I'm seeing. I'm on.
It's pretty amazing.
I googled here list of Antarctica explorations, and there's hundreds of people that have explored.
We have a science station on Antarctica.
Yeah, people are on there right now.
Yes, we do have a science station, and that's a great point. The science station that we have there, right?
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's a great point.
Go ahead.
These are all things
Go
I
ahead, bud.
know you haven't looked at, so it's like, okay, because you're just gonna believe it at face value. But if the globe was real and we didn't live on a flat Earth, there would be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
There is 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
But there isn't.
No, there totally is.
So how is it that there's definitely 24-hour sun in like the upper parts of Norway and Sweden? I've met and I know people personally from Sweden.
That's the North Pole. You're talking about two
Okay,
different
but
areas.
the way the sun circles around the equator of the flat Earth map, it would not ever give a 24-hour day of sun in the northern hemisphere.
It only happens because we're on a tilt on a heliocentric model.
In the northern hemisphere, the circle that the sun takes is much, much smaller. It's not the equator's path, so you would get the 24 hours. But in the south, you wouldn't get it because it's so large.
So if the sun is that close to the North Pole, you wouldn't get any sun in the south ever.
That's right.
If it's that close to the north.
Get sun in the south ever. Yes, you would. You just get shorter days.
But how? Like if this.
You just get shorter days.
Okay, so my understanding.
Because it goes around 20. Because the speeds change. So when say it takes 24 hours to do a circle near the North Pole, it still takes 24 hours to do a circle near the South Pole, or what you call the South Pole, the South. It still takes 24 hours, but the speed changes because it takes 24 hours.
So maybe I'm misunderstanding how the Earth or how the sun goes around. I'm seeing like the Earth is a record.
Yes.
And the sun is the needle that floats around. Okay, so if it's floating close to the North Pole or the center, how is it still
small circle, right?
So how is it still shining in the south?
Because the
outer perimeter.
The equator.
It's not at that time. It's not when it's up in the north. No, I'm not saying when it's.
Yeah, because you got the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, but most of the time.
This is how the seasons.
What did I say?
This is how the seasons work.
Cancer corn.
Okay. So the sun's not static. Like it ebbs and flows. It goes in towards the center and then back out towards the perimeter.
Exactly, it does that over the year. So for 6 months it heads out, and then it heads back in. But when it heads out and it's doing that circle, okay, if you were on a globe, there would be a 24 Antarctic sun. And I know you say there is, but if you look at the footage from the base that is down in Antarctica, the footage is chopped and edited, and they cut out 8 hours or so a day that would show the sun circling behind you. So when questioned on, hey, why is there 8 hours missing that would prove the circling sun? You know what they said? The same thing you said about the telescope. Oh, we don't have the hard drive space for it. So you're telling me on a webcam, at a security webcam that has basically unlimited funding, they can't give us a 24-hour stream that would prove that the sun does indeed circle around the bottom of the globe?
Okay, here's my answer to that, Brian. The answer is they don't need to prove this thing to you. There's a very small percentage of people who deny this thing, and a lot more people who agree. Why would they do this to prove it? They only put these kind of videos up, and we have a video from Anthony Powell who actually recorded 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Pardon me?
Before I made that point, though, you said that 24-hour sun did exist. Now that I made the point that the video is doctored, you said they don't have anything to prove to us. You can't just keep changing your mind like that.
No, it's not changing my mind. It's still the same answers every time. They don't have to give you a full picture of the Earth, but they still do. We're watching a video right now of Anthony Powell. He's a famous videographer who is showing us a video of the 24-hour Antarctica right now. With everything you need to believe, but you're going to watch this and people are still not going to believe. My question is, what will it take for you to believe?
Is it going to be that guy with his homemade rocket firing up out of his backyard?
No,
Mad
don't
Mike
screw that
Hughes.
guy. That guy's an idiot.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear you say
Thank
that.
you. Thank you for saying that, because he's an
That
idiot.
guy's an idiot. That guy has nothing to do with flat. That guy has nothing to do with flat Earth. Screw that guy.
He's like, we don't
I'm
associate
legit-
ourselves with
I'm
him.
telling you, I want an unedited video from their station down there that shows the circling sun, and their video is actually doctored. And you're saying, well, that's because they don't have anything to prove to us. Well, why are they even doctoring it in the first place?
Well, how can you prove it's
Why not
doctored
show
or not? Like, that's the thing. You're gonna say it's doctored.
Watch it. No, because I'm not saying because somebody told me. I'm saying because I studied it for months, and you can see the sun reset, and you can see the shadows reset, and it doesn't circle around you. The footage is looped.
Okay,
Doesn't
so
take
wait a minute. No,
years.
so we just watched the end of this video where they showed. Okay, so we watched the video where the sun actually did 24 hours, and then it showed a video of it, a video of the camera moving with the sun, for in a 24-hour span. I mean, we're watching evidence of it. Perhaps we're
Here's
not watching
another
the
question.
same
What
stuff.
so also what evidence do you have? Like, where's the absolute proof that it is flat? Where's the absolute proof of the AE
what is-
map? Where's
What's the magic bullet?
How about this? No
like if you're going against the
measurable curvature anywhere, anywhere.
No, that's incorrect.
that's a matter of perspective. Again, like we're so tiny on a thing.
No. So they tell us that with the dimensions they give us of the Earth, that the Earth would have a drop of 8 inches per mile squared. So for instance, Chicago from across Lake Michigan
Refraction.
is 60 miles. Okay, it's 60 miles. There would be 1,600 feet of curvature, meaning you're on a ball. So eventually the buildings are gonna, they're gonna be obstructed by the ball. They're gonna lean away a little bit, right? There's 1,600 feet of curvature. This guy Josh Nowicki went out about 3 years ago now, and he took pictures from across Lake Michigan, and you could see the whole Chicago skyline. So the media comes on that night.
But you didn't see the base of the
Yeah,
buildings.
well, wait a
you
minute.
saw the
Yeah,
top
Brian,
of the buildings
could you
because
see-
the base of
No. I'm not saying just the top. I'm saying you could see the whole buildings. And
You can
none
see
of
the
the
front
buildings
door.
are
You can see the
1,600
front door of this place.
Yep. You can see all
No
the way.
way.
You can see
There's
all the way, okay?
There's no way, man.
You can see all the way. No way. I can show you the pictures. I'll show you the pictures.
Well, I mean, I see pictures, I see videos of 24 hours like sun in Antarctica. Like, well, who am I supposed to believe? What is a credible source? Like, so who do you consider
Believe
as a
yourself.
credible source?
Use your own logic. You take the formulas and the information they're giving you, and if you can prove it wrong with your own logic and common sense, then you should know that something's fishy. When they tell you Chicago isn't visible from 60 miles because there's 1,600 feet of curvature, this kid comes out, he takes multiple pictures of it, okay? You can see the whole thing. So you know what their rebuttal was? The weatherman came on TV and
Said
literally
it's refraction.
told you,
It's a
what you're seeing
mirage.
here, he said, what you're seeing here is a mirage.
Yeah, right. I've seen
As
that
in
video.
You're not really seeing what you're seeing. And it wasn't a mirage. It wasn't wavy. It wasn't upside down.
But it
was.
was.
Complete
It
bullshit.
wasn't
No, it
upside down,
wasn't.
but it's an exaggerated picture. It's not as big as it looks like from there. I mean, your eyes can play tricks on you. When it comes to atmosphere, there's water
it was
vapor in
the
the
real
air.
picture.
This is how
And then we took
This is how
video.
light can bend. Light bends that over seas and everything. It bends over these curves. Is why we get these illusions, these mirages. He says, like this is.
And it bends into a perfect image, and then when I hop in a boat and I run a video camera from one side of Lake Michigan and I keep it in focus the whole time, and I drive all the way over to Chicago and it's still there and there is no distortion or anything, you're still gonna tell me that's a mirage?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
that has
dude.
been-
No,
I mean,
because as light travels through the atmosphere, it gets blurry. It loses energy.
and none of those videos are
As you
showing
get-
a
as you
sharp
get closer,
image
you're
of it.
as you get closer, you're going through less and less atmosphere.
There's
the density
there's
is
less
gonna
and less
change.
atmosphere between you know, and the object. So yes, it's going to appear to crispen up as you get closer. I mean, it's crispen up. I mean, this.
clarify maybe.
Yeah.
I
You know
got
what?
he
Screw you
said.
guys. All
I
right?
got what he was saying. I was enjoying what he said there. Okay, so hey, we don't have much time left, brother man. Thank you for coming on. I have one last thing that I do want to ask you about, and it's probably the biggest proof that I have of a round Earth, and it's the South. Oh, did we lose him? Oh, he's there. Okay,
no,
so I heard a boing. It's the South Stars.
I just sent you a couple pictures. Can you see them in the Skype?
Oh yeah, I thought that's what I was hearing.
Yeah, I'm getting them.
Brian, did you hear me
those
about?
are mirages, bro. That's Chicago from 60 miles. That's not a mirage.
Let me see. We're putting them up here. I'm gonna take a look at this shit here.
Come around over
That is not a mirage.
Man, I don't see any front door. I see the tops of buildings, the Sears Tower or whatever.
I see what I would expect to see of a picture of a city from 60 miles
And
away.
I did want to bring up. I did want to bring up this this Pythagorean proof of curvature. Now that math is calculated for a perfect sphere. Can we agree on that? Like,
sure, that's what it's calculated for, yeah.
yes, and as we are not a perfect sphere, as we have been told, with Kansas being as flat as a pancake. There are some places that are a little bit flatter.
Actually,
They're
it's
just
been proven. We
it's
are flatter than a
flatter
pancake.
than pancake. You have Neil Disgrace Tyson, as some people would like to call him in the place. Neil Disgrace.
Oh, you mean Captain? Well, actually.
Yes,
where he said it's like a pear
What
shape.
you're going to say about him is his oblate spheroid comment, which is another gatekeeping tactic. He said that for a reason. So when the larger distances of the southern hemisphere are discovered, which a lot of people are discovering now, he can say, oh, we told you it was wider below the equator. That's why he said that. And if Neil deGrasse Tyson, if it's not a perfect sphere, once again, let's say, you say Kansas flatter than a pancake. We know Florida's very flat, okay? So if it's not a perfect sphere, and he says it's an oblate spheroid, then what the hell are these pictures that NASA's been showing us of a perfect sphere this whole time?
Good point.
Somebody's lying.
Great point.
Somebody's lying.
But perhaps from the views that we are seeing, I mean, well, he's talking in generalities. He's not trying to say that we're in a fucking pear shape, but rather it's going to be a little bit more. And when you look at something, let's say if I had like a pool ball that was a little bit smaller at the top than it was at the bottom, like you would never notice that. It's not like a literal pear shape.
Bulging out at the equator. So like the north and south will both be smaller. Like, doesn't it bulge out at the equator? So like if you took a ball and just pushed it down a little bit so it
bulges out a bit
in the middle.
Yeah.
So once you cross the equator, then you're going back
and
again.
It's not like a fucking boy. It's not like a huge thing.
Right.
It's
No.
It's probably so minuscule that we can't really detect it with our naked eye. But fuck.
Just like the curvature.
Fuck it. Fuck all that shit. Right. So I got one last proof that I need to run by you, Brian. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, and I just sent you pictures of the photoshopped clouds on the photoshopped Earth.
We get it, man. It has to be. Okay. We get it. It has to be sometimes, right? But here's my definite proof that we live on a ball Earth, and it's something anyone can observe. Anyone can test this, and it's Sigma Octantis. It's the South Star. We could point a camera at the south, put it on a long exposure, and we will see that stars circle around it, and that is
much
south.
the way the North Star does, yeah.
It is relative to north, so south relative to north. That means anyone can do it, but if anyone was to do it, it would be in a different direction south, because south is a big perimeter over a flat Earth. What about the South Star Sigma Octantis? What do you have to say about that?
That the stars are circling above us. It's not because we're spinning.
Dude, I get it. Just like North Star, you'll see the stars spin around the South Star
around
in the
this
south.
one point.
It's called Sigma Octantis. Actually, a lot of Southern Hemisphere nations, they use the Southern Crux in their flag. Australia, Brazil. There are a couple more, but they use that, and that Southern Crux spins around Sigma Octantis, which is the dignified South Star in our world. It's not quite in the middle, but it's like about a degree off, but it's still enough to be
pivots around it,
and it's not
so
as bright.
if there's a specific point in the northern hemisphere you can point at and everything circles around it, and a specific point in the southern hemisphere that everybody can point at and everything circles around it, that could not
That's
exist.
two domes.
If south is a perimeter, that can only exist if south is a point.
Correct.
How can that only exist on a globe when we don't know what the stars are?
We know what the stars are.
If the south is a wall all the way around it, then someone on the eastern end of the perimeter and someone on the western end of the perimeter can't focus on the same star and have everything spin around it. They would have different skies.
If they're not totally synchronized at the exact same second, they most certainly could. Because the stars are going to rotate around. They're gonna come around to the next person.
Right, but so again, going back to the record thing, like if you're completely across the record from each other, like on far sides of it, you are not going to have the same night sky. You're not going to be able to focus on one southern star that everything spins around. Like, you know, you see all the pictures of the North Star with the long exposure lens. It stays still, and then you have all the tracers of the other stars around it. You can get that in
What I'm telling you is the stars aren't trillions of miles away. So what if you're not looking at the same stars and they're just a few thousand miles away?
So wait a minute.
Just like when people say when you travel farther south, you can't see the North Star because the Earth is curved and you're going around the globe. But that's not true. You can't see the North Star because you're moving farther away from it. Just like if my street light was on, I can see it. My neighbors can see it, but if I go 3 blocks away, I don't see my street light anymore.
Right.
I see a different set of street lights.
Hang on, but so you're saying the Earth doesn't spin at all. So first off, why the stars are moving? Okay, but they would only be moving. They would only be moving around that one point in the middle, the eye hole of the record, the North Star. So why would there be a separate star that also has stuff spinning around it?
I don't know.
Do they move on their own like little eddy whirlpool things?
Right.
I would have to see it. Can you show me a video of this?
Yes, if you just Google simply the South Star Trails, there are several amateur pictures.
Oh, I know what the trails look like. I'm talking about the Southern Star itself. I know the trails, and I know that they seem to go in an opposite direction, and there's a lot of explanations why they could do that.
No, he's saying South Star Trails is then video of the South Star and a long exposure lens of showing stars going around it.
If you point your camera at the south, like if you're in the north and you point your camera to the north and do a long exposure, you'll notice the stars will spin around it. They do that in the opposite direction in the south because we're in a globe. It makes complete sense. Let's say in the south there's a globe, or a dome, that we look at the top of that dome and it's a South Star. All the stars spin around it. Just like the north. You put those two domes together, what do you get? You get a goddamn globe. That's what we're talking about here.
We're saying there are two different points that have the same...
But the stars spinning in opposite directions and opposite hemispheres don't prove a globe.
Yes, they do.
You could recreate that test in your house. You could recreate that test in your living room with a laser and a magnifying glass.
Okay, you don't have to. You can go outside and...
No, but the point is, how would there be two separate stars that are the center of the spinning?
Two people on two different continents.
On a flat Earth, if the stars are spinning above us, there's one point that they're spinning around. One. So how can there be two different ones?
Yes, that's right. So the top of the dome is the North Star. So how would there be anything circling in the south if it's going, let's say, east to west, or west or east, or whatever it's supposed to be traveling?
Why couldn't there be an inner ring and then be an outer ring of stars?
Oh yeah, let's just keep making up stuff. That sounds great. Like, come on.
You guys are making up stuff, though. NASA's been making up this stuff since day one.
Listen, this stuff is backed up by several scientists, several credible sources. The burden of proof is really on the flat earthers. Not to like, hit on you or anything, but like, honestly, we've had this information which has been proven by amateurs, by professionals. It's up to you guys to show us a picture of the flat Earth. That's what it's gonna take.
Not proven. If you take a Nikon P900, which is a very popular camera now,
Indeed.
It has an 83 times zoom. It's only like a $600 camera. You can zoom in on the stars now, very close, and they're not 25 trillion miles away. I mean, you can zoom in, and they're flickering lights in the sky, dude.
Yeah, due to the atmosphere that we see through
also
them.
the stars are...
It's gas up there. You see, like, things move, and like it's gas up there.
The light that's gotten to us a fucking million years. Like, the stars are probably dead by now.
Exactly, and
it's traveled through so much space to get to us.
That's another cool, trippy thing about space is that the light that we see, it took...
I'm talking about how close you can zoom in on them when you only have an 83 times zoom if they're 25 trillion miles away.
Man, it's a camera.
But you're not seeing the actual star. You're seeing the light as it finally reaches us.
Not only that, you're seeing the light that camera receives. It's not the light that you're getting. It's a different sort of light.
No, you're seeing the star, bro.
No,
you're
seeing what the camera's seeing, and the camera can be deceptive. Like, sometimes people take pictures and there's little orbs in the pictures and shit that we never saw. Like, it sees different things that we see. That's why we use cameras to see things that move in fast motion. We have cameras that see like way more frame rates than we can. That's exactly what's going on there, man.
Take a look at a video called what the stars really look like, and it's only like a 7-minute video.
I've seen
I
it,
think
man.
it'll
It
blow
just
your
looks
mind.
like little. They're all pictures and videos of people that have zoomed in on like whatever, right, stars and such, and it's just like a plasma ball that's like moving up and down because we're looking at through an atmosphere. If they were outside the atmosphere and they did that.
Do you think that a telescope proves that planets spherical? Is that a good proof? Because you can see them in a telescope, right? Everybody's seen them.
Well, I think when you look at a telescope and to the moon,
are you
and
saying
hold up,
nothing is
and
spherical?
when you look into the moon and you see a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse and you see our shadow pass, it's a round shadow.
Definitely a curved shadow.
I'm not asking about the shadow. I'm asking about when you point at any celestial object, whether it's the moon, Mars, Neptune, any of the planets, and when you look at it, do you see a sphere in the sky?
Yes, I see a round object.
And no, you're wrong, because you can't see a sphere with 2 dimensions, and you're looking at a telescope with 1 eye. You see something that's round. It could be round and flat.
Okay, so round. If you want to make definitions by it, we see a circle in the sky. If that's what I'm trying to say, we see a circle.
So you're saying the moon and the sun are both also flat? We're just seeing the very bottom of them.
They very well could be. We can't say that they are just because they look like a ball in the sky. You can't tell it's a ball with a telescope.
Man,
depth perception is bad.
I mean, we have to be very perfectly placed underneath them. Like, if they were off a bit, around their rotation or whatever,
orbit,
you would be able to see the side of it a bit and see the second dimension,
something,
to see the flat side of it, whether it's shaped like a weight or whatever. Like, you'd be able to eventually,
what happens when the moon rotates? If you observe
the moon doesn't rotate, we see the same side all the time.
Look at the face of the moon. No. You know how there's certain craters on the moon, okay? I'm not going to pretend to know the names of them, but you know there's certain craters on the moon and there's certain spots on the sun, correct? Like there's markings.
Yeah.
If you observe the moon, okay, rather than rotate the way we're told it does, it rotates like a wheel, and you can literally follow those craters around it. So let's say there was a crater shaped like an L, for instance, and it was near the 3 o'clock, right? Mm-hmm. And you observe the moon for X amount of hours, you would see that L move to the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8. It would go around in a circle like that, not around the backside of the moon like we're told it rotates.
No, I've never been told the moon rotates. Like we always see the same face of the moon. That's why the dark side is so cold, because it never gets any heat.
We are told it rotates, but we are told it rotates.
No, I've always heard that we always see the same. We always see the same.
Well,
side
because
of the moon.
it's the way that it rotates.
No sense. They tell us because it's perfect.
It makes absolute sense how it does it. It's orbiting and spinning at the same rate that we are, and that way we see the same face. I mean, if it was just like spinning like regular and it was just staying in place, we'd see different things. We'd see different parts of the sun. But it rotates at the same rate that it orbits around us. Therefore, we see the same side.
So even if that's true, how does the face rotate in the way that I'm telling you it does? If I'm telling you the truth, I know you'd have to
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you were saying that it rotates.
He was saying that if you see it,
we're looking at the moon right now.
Look at this. Say this little. There's that little spot there about 3 o'clock.
Okay.
That white spot there.
The white spot. Okay.
If you watch it for a while, that spot is gonna move around, and it's gonna turn like a clock face. So it's gonna go this way. I have never heard that.
I've never heard that. I've never seen that.
I've always
something I'll look into.
I've always been told that we see the same side of the moon. It doesn't spin.
We just assume the science has been done. It does do that.
The same. We see the.
All right. So we have to wrap this up here, Brian. So
yeah, it's been.
Yeah, we've gone on for
like
nearly 2 hours here, y'all. So we have to finish this up. Brian, you are one of the best flat earther we've ever talked to. Keep it going, brother, man. We don't agree.
I mean,
but
you have more.
You have great information.
You, like you have more actual fucking knowledge behind what you're saying than anybody else we've talked to. That's for damn sure.
Goddamn right, man. We applaud you, man.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, everyone's clapping for you. Awesome.
I mean, we might have to split this into 2 shows, but we could still have you on again. I feel there's a lot more, even outside of Flat Earth, there's apparently a lot more we could talk to you about.
And I want you to give us an answer for the South Star. Investigate, because 2 different people on 2 different continents, let's say someone in Australia. No, even better yet, someone in South Africa, someone in Antarctica. Argentina, excuse me. They're looking at the South Star at the same time and observe the same thing where stars will circle around the southern point, the most southern point, the South Star. Look into that because to me that definitely solidifies the round
It can only
Earth.
happen on the globe.
The
round
ball
Earth.
Earth, yeah, not the round Earth because a flat thing can be round as well. The ball Earth, if you will. Brian, would you like to plug anything before we go?
Yeah, just my website, I guess. If you guys want to check out any of my research from, 9/11, Apollo, Sandy Hook, NASA, Flat Earth, whatever, I investigate all that stuff. It's therealnewsonline.com, and I have a Facebook group, same name, therealnewsonline.com. I'm always on there and always conversing with people, and I do radio shows. They were irregular, but it's, whenever we get a chance to do them, hopefully doing one next week or so.
Absolutely. You've been great,
All right.
man. Thank you very much for coming on, dude. We appreciate it. Real quick.
I'm glad that we could be. I mean, I guess sometimes we got a little bit step over each other, but like it seemed it was very amicable and it was
Very civil.
It was a very good debate.
Oh,
I
it's
feel.
all good, bro. All good.
Yeah,
we're not-
which I appreciate very much. I appreciate that very much. As
Yeah.
Brother, as long as there's no personal attacks, I'm cool, man.
well, I think you smell weird.
So, quick with just a minute or something. What do you think of this recent school shooting? Because I know you're definitely a thing of Sandy Hook. What do you think about this recent shooting?
I haven't looked yet, okay, because I was busy over the last couple of days doing something. But based on their track record, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's definitely fake, but at this point, these events need to be proven to me that they happened. And I've seen a lot of bullshit interviews come out of it, but I haven't investigated it yet. I can't argue the facts, so I can't really speak on it yet. But I would be very surprised if it was real. Just like how people used to say when you're little, how could somebody go and shoot up a school? Well, actually, it's because they don't. Nobody wants to go and shoot up a school.
Right.
But I haven't looked into this one yet. I will this week, though.
Well, Brian, thank you
All right,
so
fair
much.
enough, man. You'll have to get back with us.
Check them out on The Real News Online. Do you have a Twitter, something that people can tweet at you?
Nah, I never use it. The easiest way is
The Facebook.
just go to my website, and there's a link there for my Facebook and my email. If people want my email to direct message me, it's ricefoot@gmail.com.
Ricefoot@gmail.com.
Yeah,
All right.
ricefoot@gmail.com.
Copy that. Well, thank you very much, Brian. We've enjoyed your conversation. You keep
Yeah,
on
man.
fighting the good fight or bad fight, whatever it is, man. You just keep fucking fighting. We enjoyed your time, man. Thank you so much.
We gon' flirting. Science is a lie. We gon' flirting. There's a dome in the sky. We gon' flirting. The Bible is why we gon' flirting.
That's right. Man, what a fucking interview that was, dude. Great fucking stuff.
Man, he was just more with it. We've never had anybody, I guess in a debate sense. Like, obviously we had the great Dr. Richard Carrier, who was very well informed. But, like, in a debate sense, we've never had anybody that informed and well-spoken.
He wasn't long-winded.
No, but he could stand toe-to-toe, and he could take any criticisms. Like, he never really felt attacked. I felt it was very, it was a nice back-and-forth, amicable, sometimes more argument than debate, but it, it was really fucking awesome. He had his shit together.
Great.
He had his
Absolutely.
shit together, and he
knew
he
he
was
had
prepared.
an answer for everything except for South Star.
Except for South Star.
Yeah.
And I hope you check it out, brother man, because that is definite proof. I've seen the arguments of it, and they say perspective because it goes like this, it'll go like this, and I get it. If there was a dome, that's what the way the stars would go. They would always go from the way that the dome is turning, right, like this, right, and you'd see the stars always doing this way. But in the south, they can all look. Not to mention, south is not just one place in the flat Earth. It's every single direction. It's relative to north. Anywhere you stand and you see north and you turn around, that's south. On a flat Earth, that's every fucking direction in the fucking conceivable. It's 360 degrees.
Right.
So
that couldn't. Right.
It's absolute proof to me that that's
we'll definitely be talking to him again.
And he was great.
He knew his shit.
And not to mention, if you guys go ahead and if you guys stick around or actually check out our after show, we talked a little bit about 9/11 and actually took up a lot of stuff. So
man, he knew a lot about that shit too.
we're gonna be throwing, dude, and you're gonna check out this guy's website if you want to watch any stuff that if you just want to like get crazy and just jump into a rabbit hole that you'll probably never get out.
If you ever wanted to be Alice,
Because by the way,
jump down that rabbit
I'm
hole.
pretty sure he
eat that cookie.
I'm pretty sure he turned Nick. Nick is all
Yeah.
The passion's all like fucking dude. You just gotta listen. Nick is a truther now, so that all because of fucking our homeboy.
Windows reflect. That's all I'm saying.
You're gonna have to listen to the after show for that. So
yeah, what am I talking about? Listen to the after show.
Yeah.
And that being said, we're gonna go to the news, you guys. That's right.
Motherfuckers coming with
The news with Nick and Los, that's right. We coming at you, coming with the light.
That's my nigga right there.
with her
We've
koozie.
got the news.
Oh yeah.
We've got the news. We've
Shout out,
got
Coach.
With the caption.
We've got the news with
What's the
Nick
caption
and
say?
Los.
Yeah, she's the number 2 over there. Oh yes, that's right. Thank you, Coach, for watching. She's our
That's why she's coach.
she's the B word that watches our shit. That's right. New York Times,
The boss.
the boss.
That's what you meant.
Yeah.
Now, we gotta drop it down a bit.
Okay,
and-
sorry,
and
sorry.
about this, but we need to talk about the news and what happened last week on Valentine's Day, if I'm not mistaken. The suspect in one of the deadly school shootings in modern American history, which I think they say that about every latest shooting.
Okay, because they
just get
keep-
worse and
Yeah,
worse.
that's kind of what alarms me is that every time it's the worst time and it's setting a goal for the next person because I mean, like it or not, the next shooting is probably being planned right now.
Should we even say like that kind of shit? The worst, the most massive.
No,
the
we shouldn't.
Most
We
devastating-
shouldn't, but that's
You
the
shouldn't,
reality
but you
of the
have
thing.
to for the shock value and to get your ratings. Like you need your views, so you gotta
So
you gotta fucking romanticize it.
We're all familiar with the shooter that happened. We all heard the news. It's fucking disgusting. Again, another fucking shooting. And here's something from the New York Times. The deadliest school shooting in modern history right now. He confessed to police that he, quote, began shooting students that he saw in the hallways and on school grounds. And this is according to the police report that the New York Times acquired here. The suspect, whose name is Nicholas Cruz, and he spells it a lot like you spell your Nicholas, my man. We're talking about Nikolas.
How many different ways are there to spell Nicholas?
Well, you know,
Because I'm N-I-C-H, so that's about as different as you can get when you're still on the name Nicholas.
You know what?
That is pretty different.
It is very different. I didn't realize. I thought it was N-I-C. I thought it was the same way as this spelled, but with a C.
Ah.
Nicholas. I don't know. It's a weird fucking name, isn't it?
I mean, if you have the same name, there are only so many ways to spell any given one name.
Nicholas. I
Nicol,
don't think
right?
I've ever spelt that name before. Nickel. Is it like nickel? Like, is that where the word nickel comes from? I'm sorry, I digress. The suspect. I'm not trying to say that you're about to shoot up a school or something. I didn't want to
No, I
insinuate
hate guns.
That.
They're stupid, so I would never do that.
All right, we'll get into that in a second. The suspect, Nicholas Cruz, 19, carried a black duffel bag and backpack where he hid loaded magazines. This report said. He arrived at Majori Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland in an Uber. He showed up in an Uber at 2:19 p.m. on Wednesday, which was Valentine's Day, the 14th of February, and pulled out a semi-automatic AR-15 rifle, according to the details, right? Mr. Cruz also shot people inside 5 classrooms and on the first and second floors of the freshman building. He eventually discarded the rifle, a vest, and ammunition in a stairwell, blended in with fleeing students, and got away. After leaving the school, Mr. Cruz walked into a Walmart, bought a drink at the Subway. He also stopped in at the McDonald's. He got himself a McDouble with mac sauce. That's not in the thing, but that's what I think he might have got, because that's what psychos get.
Well,
Fucking
then
McDouble
it
with
was
mac
given
sauce.
away because he had a drink from Subway and something to eat from McDonald's.
And
That's
you know-
a sucker move because McDonald's got that $1 large drink.
Why would you not just get the fucking drink there, right?
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Hard hat.
I just blew his
You
mind.
fucking blew my mind right now because that's right. This is fake news right here for a second. I just want to say this is fake news. He bought a drink at Subway and then also stopped at McDonald's. No, it didn't say he shopped at McDonald's, but he stopped at McDonald's.
Okay.
But if
So
he
they
stopped,
have camera footage of him.
you're right, he does. Maybe he stopped at McDonald's and then he saw that it's $1 any size and he's like, what the fuck? He get all fucking pissed off.
I'm so mad right now. I could just shoot. Oh wait, I just did.
And then he realizes what fucking happened. Anyways, he was arrested by the police without incident as he walked down a residential street at 3:41 p.m. With his head down, like, I fucking can't get my dollar fucking drink. But let's talk about this timeline for a second. 2:19, he walked on. We don't know. Let's give him 10 minutes or so to get over there, get situated, and start fucking unloading on people in the hallway and in the school grounds. We're going over an hour and let's see, that's 20. That's an hour and 22 minutes. He's caught. This motherfucker was able to walk away and still get caught. There were supposed to be cops on premises at all times, which they were supposed to be. I don't know if they were. Where were they? We don't know.
There was one security guard, I heard.
This is fucked up. And here's a quote from Officer Michael Leonard. He looked like a typical high school student, and for a quick moment I thought, could this be the person who I need to stop? Good point. I mean, it's a good quote because imagine you in this moment. They all look the same. They're all kids. I mean, I don't know if it said he discarded all that stuff, right? In the hallway, the vest and a fucking gun. The rifle, vest, and ammunition in the stairwell, so he could blend in. So he
was 19,
everything.
only 1 year out, so he probably still was kind of passable, a senior.
Oh, for sure.
Unfucking believable.
What are you getting at? What's your point here?
Here are the takeaways, okay? Mr. Cruz faces 17 counts of premeditated murder, one for each of the people he is accused of killing. Let's go ahead and say that he fucking killed those fucking people. Ridiculous.
Well, I mean, they have to say accused.
Of course.
Right. Innocent until proven
it was
guilty.
also captured on cell phone video by terrified students. The AR-15 rifle used in the attack was purchased legally at Sunrise Tactical Supply in Florida, February 2017, a year ago. No laws were violated in the procurement of this weapon, said Peter J. Forcelli, the special agent in charge of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Fizzle-Fucking Arms and Explosives. I didn't know they added an E there, so it's a Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and
Explosives.
That's right. In Miami. The FBI said on Thursday it received information last year about a comment made on a YouTube channel that has been attributed to the gunman, but was unable to identify the person. Unable to identify. I saw this. Did you see this? So there was a YouTube video that was about school shootings, and a user by the name of Nicholas Cruz, same spelling, says, "I'm going to do the same," or something into that effect. And I don't know if they saw that, but it's like, when you see that, and it happened like 9 months ago. It wasn't recent. It was like 9 months ago. Crazy coincidence. Same spelling. I don't know how common. That's probably why I wanted to bring up the commonness of the spelling of the name there. But there you have it there. They were unable to identify that person because of that. So in Florida, an AR-15 is easier to buy than a handgun. Bottom fucking line. But let's talk about an AR-15. What does the AR stand for? Assault rifle, right? Incorrect. The AR in AR-15 stands for Armalite Rifle, after the company that developed it in the 50s. AR does not stand for assault rifle or automatic rifle. AR-15 style rifles are not assault weapons or assault rifles. An assault rifle is a fully automatic, a machine gun. Automatic weapons have been severely restricted from civilian ownership since 1934. So, I want to talk about gun laws for a second. If we had stricter gun laws or firearm regulation, could something like this have been even stopped at all? So, Nick Ryder, what are your thoughts on gun control, man? Period. What are your thoughts on the story? What are your thoughts on what should be done? What is going on? You got like 5 minutes. Give me something, man.
I mean, you're a fucking idiot if you don't think that there's an issue with gun control.
Go ahead.
Like, no other civilized nation in the world has this problem. Period. None.
Well, you have
none.
Okay, go ahead.
So we're the only one that has it.
My man.
And so what the fuck does that tell you? Here, actually, by the way, is an old news clipping. The term assault rifle.
The all-new
is
Fark
from them.
3 assault rifle of tomorrow.
So
this is where the stigma of assault rifle comes from. Is this propaganda?
It's not a libtard term.
You're right, and I'm not. I've never said that.
So yes, there's a mental health issue to be explored as well, but the fact that an AR-15 is more attainable than even a pistol is a fucking problem.
It seems very alarming, right?
Also, the fact that he got this gun when?
Last year, when he turned 18, February.
And when did Trump get rid of the mental health clause that Obama put into effect?
January.
I
see where you're getting at.
Okay.
So, first thing he fucking did was get rid of that, and then what happens? This guy buys a fucking gun.
Legally.
Very illegally. The guy can't have a goddamn beer, but he can buy a goddamn AR-15.
So what do you propose?
We need to do okay, this argument like guns aren't the fucking problem. That's not the issue. Like, there's a fucking chocolate egg made in Germany that has a toy inside of it. They feel it's a choking hazard, so it is banned in the United States. The deaths of United States citizens due to this chocolate egg is fucking zero, but it's banned. Kids are eating Tide Pods. We require now that Tide makes their Tide Pods look different. Okay, car wrecks happen. We make seatbelt laws. We install airbags. We make safety regulate. Any other time something is taking American lives, we take action because of the instrument used. Now, when it comes to guns, that's the only time we're like, don't blame the tool, blame the person. That's the one and only fucking instance where we say don't blame the tool. Any other instance, this egg isn't allowed. Change the look of the Tide Pods. Make the cars safer. Do whatever you need to do to this fucking tool for the safety of lives. Except guns.
What are your
guns are fucking stupid. Now, if you want to own guns, own guns. Fine.
Right.
I'm not gonna hate anybody.
Let's get hard
guns
hats.
are a fucking issue, and as long as we say don't politicize, guns aren't the fucking problem. Guns are obviously the fucking problem. Yes, you can kill people with knives. You can kill people with whatever, but you can't.
You're good.
You can't kill 500 fucking people or whatever with a knife.
Nick, you made your point. Let's get to Brandon, and I have something I want to say as well. But Brandon, what's your thoughts, bro?
I mean, guns, if you want to own them, cool. I'm not impressed by them. I don't care how many guns or whatever. They don't wow me. I'm not sexually aroused by them. But there definitely is kind of like Nick said, you're a fucking idiot if you can't acknowledge that there is a gun problem. Like, it doesn't matter how they're being used. Like, if alcohol is strictly regulated because it has the potential to be abused. Like, guns, yes, they are a useful tool in things, but they have gotten to the point where they are being abused by the public. So something needs to happen. And if you're just too ignorant or too brainwashed and just guns,
you can't even vape
to recognize
because it might
that
upset somebody. They regulate everything else extremely, but
so my question is, what do you propose? What can change this? What's going to change
gun
this?
control? I believe isn't going to do much because he bought this 100% legally.
Exactly.
Because of a new a law that was just recently.
But how many mass shootings have been done with illegal weapons?
Right.
The Las Vegas, all of his were legal.
Absolutely legal.
Like, people are going. Like, if we're going to have guns in our society, this is it's going to happen. And so I think if we need to make a shift, society-wise and just prepare. Like, it sucks, but, it's gotten to the point where every other month, the worst mass shooting. And the numbers are just going up because people don't want to acknowledge that guns are being used as they are being abused. And, our numbers as humans is not dwindling, but people are suffering losses because people are choosing to misuse this. And I know.
I see a lot of stuff from gun owners and gun advocates saying, I support laws. Like, my love of this kill machine, like this is an inanimate object that's only purpose is to take life, whether it be an animal or a person.
Yeah.
That's all this does, period.
And prevent tyranny.
There are those people,
taking life.
but honestly,
By
if there is a
taking life.
government
Taking life,
takeover
yeah.
that happens, it's not going to be guns and everything that win the
So-
battle. It's going to be a cyber battle.
The love of this inanimate object is greater than the loss of life that happens. It's happened 18 times this year, and we're only halfway through February.
Yeah, but they're not the issue.
I've got some
And that's more important?
I've got some
Are you
thoughts
fucking
on this,
kidding
boys.
me?
I got
Yeah.
some thoughts. So, here's my thoughts on gun control, okay? No one is going to take away anyone's fucking guns, all right?
No one's saying we're going to come to your house and take your guns away.
No one is saying that, and that's why
Nobody's ever
we
said
shouldn't
that.
worry about it. The center of the CDC isn't allowed to study
They
gun
can't.
violence.
Yeah, they can't.
Which is fucked
That
up.
is
It
that
is an-
should
it is
red
an am-
flag right there.
It is an amendment called Dickey Amendment from 1996. And let me tell you a little bit about it, okay? In
Tell
the
us
United,
about old Dickie.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you exactly.
You made some
what
great pants.
in United States politics, the Dickey Amendment is a provision first inserted as a rider, not you, as a rider into the 1996.
Oh, with a D.
Yes.
Riding a D.
Inserted as a rider into the 1996 federal government omnibus. Is that right? Omnibus spending bill, which mandated that, quote, none of the funds made available for injury prevention and control at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention may be used to advocate or promote gun control. That is the Dickey Amendment. In the same spending bill, Congress earmarked $2.6 million from the CDC's budget, the exact amount that had previously been allocated to the agency for firearms research for the previous year for traumatic brain injury research. The amendment is named after its author, J. Dickey. Blah, 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 right? The Dickey Amendment. None of the funds available for injury prevention and control, the CDC, may be used to advocate or promote gun control. That is why they cannot study it. This is
And why would that be?
the
Why
lobbyists.
do you think?
Because we've talked about
know,
this for
'cause
fucking Monsanto. Because it's illegal fucking bribery, and who's going to
Absolutely.
fucking? I don't care
I've
what
seen-
the cause is. If you got people that are like on both sides, they're lobbying. That is fucking legal bribery, and bribery is bullshit.
I've seen all this shit come out. John McCain has received over $7 million from the NRA alone. Over $7 million fucking dollars from the NRA alone. Just him.
Yeah. Can you believe it? You can believe it, right? Because that's the fucking
Because
world we
it
live in.
happened.
Now,
That's exactly what it is.
Now, let's not get this incorrect here. Let's not get too crazy because, yeah, they accepted that much. But it's not like they actually accepted money. It was some sort of something that happened, right? Because you can't literally give them money because that's bribery.
No, but they're still
they
getting
spent all
that and voting a certain way because of that. And
Yes,
that's
it's
exactly what it
definitely
is. So it
influenced
doesn't
by
matter
that.
whether it's here are actual dollars or here's a boat or here's a vacation or here's a fucking Applebee's coupon. It doesn't
Absolutely.
goddamn matter what it
Absolutely.
is.
Absolutely.
You're
And-
still giving them something to sway their vote.
Yeah, and it's legal. It's bribery. Bottom line.
When they all say, "Oh, this is terrible. We hope this never happens again." Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts
All right,
and
all
prayers,
right.
thoughts. No, last year in fucking Florida
it
was
easy.
the nightclub shooting, which at that time was the worst
Yeah.
shooting in modern history.
That's a
And-
false flag hoax.
And
Go ahead.
the governor from Florida was like, "I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that this never happens again."
And what do you know,
Now,
Florida?
This year, yet again in Florida,
You topped your record
a
again.
shooting happens, and what do you say? I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure this never happens again. You know why? Because he doesn't fucking care. He's bought out. He's saying what he needs to say in front of fucking cameras, but he doesn't ever actually do anything. And that's the goddamn problem. Fuck your thoughts and prayers. It's almost like just sitting there praying doesn't actually do any goddamn
Oh,
thing.
He may be onto something.
So fuck your thoughts and prayers. Shove them up your fucking ass.
You know what? How can you disagree with the passion when he's so passionate like that? So you made a lot of sense earlier, and it makes a complete sense that when people start dying from something, maybe it's time to do something, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
For instance, car accidents. Cars didn't have seatbelts. Now they do because we were allowed to study why people were dying from it. Dickie's being a real Richard about this fucking bullshit, right? Dickie, driving requires a license. Guns do too. Guns do too. Let's be fair. But what also is required is a written test, behind the wheel test, and then renewals. After a few years, right?
Right, and you have to register it. You have to have it insured.
Yes.
All that shit. So perhaps stricter guideline to buy them and that might,
and ownership,
might help,
and you have
right?
to prove that you can handle it before you can have the fucking thing.
Yeah, and how's that impeding too much on anyone's fucking right?
It's
like,
not.
If I have to wait a fucking month to be approved for this, but here's the thing. That's going to be fine, right? Everyone's going to be like, you know what, you're
If
right.
you want the
and
gun-
then someone's going to buy one that way and fucking burn.
Yeah,
dude.
Well, and that brings my point back around. Like, if we're gonna have guns, like people are going to use them for that purpose. Just statistically, it's like that's just a reality. It's going to happen.
But how much is it going to decrease? Because people still take their cars and drive them into crowds of people.
Exactly. Like I said,
right.
these things are going to be used.
Right, but is it going to decrease it? And is that decrease in loss of human lives worth doing it? Like saying some guy's still going to take this gun, he's going to go about it legally, he's going to get this gun, he's going to shoot people. So, okay, sure, everybody's going to take advantage of any system ever put in place. That's always going to happen. But does that say that the 60% less loss of life that law enacts, is that not worth it?
If it results in a drastic reduction,
because one guy's going to go about this and fucking take advantage, then we just shouldn't do it. Then why have any laws? Like, what's the, where's the line? So, of course, somebody's always going to fuck the system. Somebody's always, like, cars are allowed, and you jump through all the hoops to get your car legally and get your license legally and register it and then drive it into a crowd of people. That still happens, but it happens so fucking rarely.
Do you know?
So we're going to say this one guy still got it and drove into a crowd of people, so nobody should have
It's not
Dude,
like
because
that.
it decreases the chance of something.
Right.
And so many fewer people are going to be murdered. And that is acceptable. That's what we should be doing. Any chance we can take
to greatly
decrease
reduce
the
something, we
loss
should
of
be
life,
taking.
we should be doing that.
I like that you say that because I have something that's sort of funny in this whole thing right here. So when there's like a domestic shooting, right? We have this like terrorist attack domestically, right? The left, they call to control guns and regulations, right? And the right, they fight to keep those laws the same. But then what happens when there's a Muslim terrorist attack? The right fight to kick the Muslims out and keep them from coming in, but the left are like, let's open the fucking borders and shit. I think that's sort of funny how
It's
that
a very
goes.
generalized thing. Now, remember when one brown guy in New York drove a car into a crowd of
Drove
people?
them through people.
Okay, but not that long before that, a white guy did it. You weren't fucking screaming against all white people.
You know what? You're right, but that
And as soon as a brown guy did it, that very day, so this whole let's not politicize
we're not going to get
things
into
yet, but that very
craziness.
day-
I'm just thinking how funny that is. Like,
Okay,
but,
well,
but
how
we should
crazy-
you should be on the same thing with Muslims as you
well,
are with
okay, but
with
then
guns.
the right should do the same thing with white. Like a black kid,
Yes, they should.
A black kid. Oh, he was a threat. He deserved to be shot because the cops felt threatened. They sure as shit apprehended this guy who just murdered 17 people. Like, they can apprehend white people safely and completely. So why do black people need to be shot? Like,
I agree with you,
anytime a
man.
white person shoots, oh, he's a fucking insane lone wolf. One brown person does something, everybody Muslim's horrible. And
He's
we
a
need
Muslim,
to
kill him!
Like,
Yeah.
it's bullshit. So you have the same goddamn double standard coming the other way.
That's what I wanted to mention is how funny it is both fucking ways. And if they want to keep them some way or another, I absolutely believe that there should be a stricter gun law. People shouldn't just be
Fucking
able to
A.
buy guns, but you know
It's
what?
a thing that serves no purpose than murder. That's it. That's all it does, is to kill. Whether you're hunting and it's a deer or whether you're protecting your home, still your intention is to kill.
Because of our
Period.
because of America.
That's all it does.
Nick, because of America and our amendments,
What else
our
is a gun good for?
Constitution. Yeah, you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying that we have to have guns.
What does
This
the
is
Second
our
Amendment actually say?
right to bear arms? The people are gonna. You know what? You want me to go ahead and do this right here?
You have the right to arm yourselves as a well-regulated militia against overbearing government.
You're right.
It is not just everybody own all the guns you want. That is not
a
what it
well-regulated
fucking says.
militia.
I mean,
It
you're
says
right.
you have the right to take up arms
in the case of
against a tyrannical government.
But back in those times,
exactly. But
everybody had
A musket over
yes.
the fucking fireplace.
which was the top of the line military fucking weapon.
So that doesn't mean, hey, you need a fucking bazooka. You need an assault rifle. You need a machine gun. You need
Well,
this.
honestly, hang on. I think
RPG.
we've mentioned something like fragile masculinity. Do you guys really think that there might be some sort of correlation
absolutely.
between
It's all
like gun
phallic.
ownership and
it's totally
just that having
You're
to prove
firing
your
a whole bunch of tiny
masculinity?
penises at
Have you guys
somebody.
ever? Have you guys
They're all
ever
just
fired
tiny
a gun,
little dicks.
a rifle, anything like
Never
that?
have,
No,
nope.
Never
Los?
fired a rifle.
Okay, I have. It's fun. Like I've shot targets, things like that.
Made
It's
your dick
fun.
hard, right?
But no, see, that's where I said I don't get sexually aroused by it. Like it's fun. I'm fascinated by the mechanics of it. The
causing
pin
this
striking,
tiny
the expansion of the
explosion.
gas,
Right.
and all
Sure.
that. But like I don't feel
And I get
the
it.
need to have them
I
to
get-
feel like a man.
Right,
and feel
and I
tough.
get it, and I get hunting. I totally get
Sure.
hunting.
Well,
I
but
even-
let's be honest. Hunting, and I do air quotes now, is going and sitting in a fucking deer blind. That's not fucking
No,
hunting.
right,
If
right,
you're
right,
not
right.
tracking,
It's called
like
camping.
Okay,
right
but
there.
yeah,
that's a separate argument. And then I even get a home protection. Like I need this at my home
Sure.
in case
Sure.
somebody breaks in.
It's a deterrent as
Fine.
well.
But that is right. You can just brandish it and not necessarily shoot and deter. Absolutely. But
Sure.
that's still in your home. You're not taking it somewhere to fire at fucking people.
Yeah.
But like if you need this because the Second Amendment, which only says you can take up arms in a well-regulated militia against a tyrannical government, do you honestly think that a fucking rifle is going to do anything with the drones and the bombs and the shit
That's
that the
what I
fucking
say.
government has?
if we're gonna overthrow the government,
you aren't fucking rising up against shit
Yeah.
with
All
your
right,
little
wait,
if we're
handgun.
gonna overthrow the government from as the
so that's a
people,
mute
it's
argument, and
it's
so
gonna
take your Second
happen
Amendment,
with
shove it
zeros
up your
and
ass.
ones and
But
computers.
here's the thing.
Also,
I
you don't
think-
give a shit about them walking all over the First Amendment, so don't pretend it's about your rights. You're not upset about the loss of your rights. You're upset about guns. That's
All right.
it.
We
Stop with the amendment
We
shit.
are running way too long here. We need to start cutting out here soon here. But I did want to mention one thing. I think instead of trying to change more laws, which the laws differ from each state, which is even crazier.
Right.
In Texas, I can walk into a fucking pawn shop right now, pending a background check. I will walk home with a gun.
I can one up that. Touring through Texas a lot, I have driven through, and it's Goldthwaite, Texas. I remember that only because Bobcat Goldthwaite.
Uh-huh.
There's a town called Goldthwaite, Texas, and I was driving through it once, and I looked out the window and I see a big fucking sign at the town square, and they were having
Gun show.
No, not even a gun show. We're having because they had the
Yard
the big
sale.
square, the big square in the middle with the statue,
Sure, yep.
and sort of like a street festival,
a
a street festival, and they were having a competition, and the prize
was a gun.
was a gun.
God
Fuck
damn
yes.
it!
You get a
Fucking
win
in
of-
Goldthwaite, Texas.
Just win a gun.
Now it makes complete sense that these rural counties and
Texas.
shit in Texas, but
absolutely
not only
Texas.
Texas, the Midwest in general, the whole fucking middle of America, they have guns because I've seen signs that say we only call cops to collect the bodies, shit like that, because
Right.
they have to protect their own land. There's not going to be cops because we're talking
And
about.
again, I get it for home protection, for sure.
And that's great, right? But I think in gun control, it's weird. But what could have stopped this is police at the schools. I think maybe we can every single school. When I grew up, there weren't any fucking police at my school, but I remember there are some schools that make you walk through a fucking metal detector,
Right.
and there's supposed to be cops at this school. There need to be more cops, and not only that, it'll give people more jobs.
Right, but
we need to give people
schools
more
and
jobs.
churches are
Former military, they could be cops. We can make them.
Okay, so you're on that train.
Or guards or something.
Give three
Alright, so-
three vets armed at every school.
As a substitute
When you
teacher,
put it that way,
I
holy
have been
fuck.
in a school that went into lockdown. This is not a drill fucking
Sorry, we
lockdown
were
mode.
talking while you were saying that. Go ahead.
Now
It's silent.
I've been in a school when it went into lockdown mode.
Go ahead.
Okay, I've been in that, and it turned out that I was working at a school, and right next door was another school, and that was the one having the emergency. But since we're
So
right
close,
next door
right, that
sharing a
makes
parking
sense.
lot, we went into
Makes
emergency.
sense to do that.
So the person was never in our building, luckily.
But just in case he decides to run over
or
gotta
anything
lock
like
down.
because that one was a middle school. We were elementary, and I mean,
Gotta
fucking elementary
protect
school,
the
so
future.
just fucking logging out.
I
'Cause
know,
those kids
yeah.
are gonna run, and I was in a classroom, and they weren't even taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So like, you definitely need to. You don't want them running around.
So do you
'cause
think maybe
Dude,
they
if-
should
if-
start doing like active? Like, I know like teachers and staff do active shooter drills, but do you think they need to incorporate in them like?
No, we
like
do. We
storm,
actually
like with the students.
No, we
as
do.
well?
Absolutely, yes. We
All right.
we have
You know
there are
what?
fire
I
drills, there
totally-
are storm drills, there are lockdown drills, which is why when this came
Which
up,
is essentially an active shooter drill.
yes,
Okay.
and it come. So when this happened, it came up, and then they
Dude,
said we're
I
going
totally-
into lockdown mode. This is not a drill.
I
We are doing
totally
this.
see this. Like you're at a school and the kids are like, you're doing this like shooter drill, right? Because I heard that's a thing now, shooter drill.
Okay, but they said this is not a drill.
Well, they said it's not a drill.
Yes.
And then you see these kids fucking laughing. They're not participating.
And they were.
And then you go, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
I did not do that. No.
You could die right now. Do you want
Definitely
that?
did not do that.
You go up to him.
Definitely
you want
didn't do
that? My name is Nick, the Passion
Definitely
Writer.
did not do that.
You will call me NPR. That's right.
NPR. Hang on, we might be stepping on somebody's toes now.
Yeah.
You call me NPR.
I definitely did not say any of this.
Whenever you get information, you go, where'd you get that? You go, that's right.
NPR.
NP fucking R.
It's a
Listen here.
diversion.
But seriously, if they were fucking being... dude, did that anger you when you saw that? When it was like supposedly a real... It's not a drill, right? It's a real thing? Or did they say it's a real drill?
I didn't see it. I was there.
But like when they said it's a drill, it wasn't like
No, they said this is not a drill.
This is not a drill.
They came over the intercom and said, we're going into lockdown mode. This is not a drill.
And then the kids were fucking playing, and you were... What did you do? Did you fucking
No, we
get
turned
up?
off the lights, locked the door, and they got under the under the teacher's desk, like back in this corner.
They got all in one spot. They didn't stay under their own desk.
They got under there because they'd done drills before, but as it went on, they started laughing and wanting to play. I mean, they were fucking
Right.
second graders.
Yeah,
but
they don't know.
Dog, we are going way too fucking far into this thing. God damn it. Let's go ahead and end
guns
this.
are dumb. I'm just saying, your life wouldn't change at all if you didn't have one.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. He's saying guns are dumb. I love guns. I'm gonna buy a gun this year. I'm gonna keep you
I
guys
don't like
aware
'em.
of that.
My dad owns them. My wife owns them. It's fine. Whatever.
Wait, Miss
So
Passion?
you have guns in the house,
Wait,
Miss
no,
Passion?
no, they're still at her parents' house in
Okay,
Nebraska.
good.
Oh, okay. I was like, All right, Mrs.
But she
Passion.
owns them.
Sorry.
Yeah,
so
she's
like,
not Miss Passion.
Yeah,
she's
sorry,
Mrs.
Mrs. Passion.
But I don't know. I've never even fired one. I just don't see the point. Guns are stupid.
When I buy,
I think personally,
Sure.
just my
which is
just
it's
real
all
quick
your
for
own
everybody out
fucking
there.
opinion.
Right,
that's
purely my
great.
opinion. Purely my opinion.
And by the way, when I do buy my gun, I'm gonna invite you to go shooting, and we're gonna have a good time. Either way,
I'm
down.
not gonna shoot it.
I'm down.
and you're down too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all gonna do it.
They are fun to shoot. I will say that, but I don't feel that I need to.
Yeah,
You know?
we don't need to, but whatever.
If I get the opportunity, yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, you guys. Thank
Man,
you for
what a-
Brian.
Impassioned episode.
Dude, Brian from therealnews.com.
Yeah.
Therealnews.com. What is that
Man, a lot of love
website?
for that guy.
TheRealNews.com.
That's
Lot of
right.
love for that guy.
Go ahead and check him out. Give him some love. Show him some love, man. If you guys are into Flat Earth, follow him.
If you're into
I mean,
9/11, fucking
yeah.
anything, he's got it all
He's
covered
got a
there.
broad
He's got
array
it
of
all.
topics.
When it comes to conspiracy theories, I look up to this guy. I mean, he's got great, incredible information.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to Flat Earth, I don't believe him so much. But that's my opinion.
Sure.
But when it comes to all the other stuff, 9/11, how can you refute all that shit he's talking about? He turned Nick while we were on the air.
I witnessed
Hey, man.
it.
Well,
Windows reflect, man.
Listen to
That's
the
what I'm saying.
fucking, listen to the after show, man.
Yeah, you're gonna have to listen to it to see what I mean by Windows reflect.
Windows don't reflect or on these
They
videos.
do.
Well, they do, but they didn't on
But
this
they
video.
did it in this case.
Exactly.
Listen to the after show. We have an iTunes review we want to go over.
Yeah.
So that's right.
It comes from Off-Road, by Off-Road,
Yeah.
from
You mean the
Robot
Nintendo
Pizza.
game?
That was
Maybe.
a good one.
But it's
I love
from
that game.
Robot Pizza Van.
I like pizza.
And it starts with fun and informative. Here's what he has to say
We
about
are
it.
neither of those.
Wait,
things.
what is the rating? Is it a 5-star?
He gave a 5-star.
5-star rating.
5
God
That's
damn
stars.
it.
right, Robot Pizza.
He says, I like the topics these guys talk about. They are a fun, informative, and unique take on some weird subjects. I like the chemistry, and the show moves at a good pace. I could not have read a more generic ass fucking review. But thank you so much for reviewing. Fucking A. Brandon,
Wow.
we have a question of the
right
week. What do
out.
you got?
All right, so we did speak of the Northern Star, Northern Southern Star, but this is somewhat related. Everyone knows of the Northern Lights. Some might call them the Aurora Borealis. What causes these strange dancing lights in the sky?
Oh, and you know what? A little known fact that when I was on the radio on 101X, that was the question. One of the questions, or
I
at least
remember.
what was the name of those gases?
Right.
Yeah.
So we need people to write in.
Yes.
Like
email
us or
yes.
comment on some kind of social media somewhere. Or
You pretty much you're reading right off of my screen right here.
anywhere you can find us on the interwebs. However you find us,
I'm just gonna
answer the question.
I'm just going to clean it up a little bit, but email your answers to emergencyexitpodcast@gmail.com. Call our hotline at 830-875-0637.
Yes,
That's right.
830.
Yes.
830.
Slide into our DMs on Twitter at EMEXPod, or simply hammer out a text message on the Facebooks. One lucky listener will win an Emergency Exit branded T-shirt.
Yeah, do we have those
right.
for realsies?
Yeah, man.
Well,
we may be.
somebody's going to win them.
Emergency exit
Win
branded
one.
T-shirts. Yeah.
Once again, goodness gracious. Thank you, Brian Staveley from the Real News Online. Did I say that right? Staveley?
No, Staveley. It was
Staveley. I said it right.
I don't
sure.
remember.
I
by
thought
now.
it'd be real sweet if he had it, and I said this to him earlier, if it was Staveley. Oh, that'd be real sweet. But thank you so much, man. We had a great fucking time talking to him today.
Dude,
And
we
if-
had like 3 episodes worth of fucking interview on that.
Yeah.
and
It was
so
awesome. We could draw this one out for a while.
If you guys check out the after show, we'll have that posted up in its entirety and up until the interview that we just started. I just started recording him. As soon as we had him live on our thing, I was trying to test all this shit. And so I just decided, all right, I'm going to record. And so I recorded, and then we started talking about 9/11, and here we fucking are, man.
Yeah.
And there it went.
So I hope you enjoyed this show. I mean, do you think the Earth is flat? I mean, I want to hear your opinion.
I do not.
You don't want to hear their opinion, but you don't.
No, I mean I don't think the Earth is
You
flat.
don't- I don't either.
I
mean-
would like to hear opinions. Because
Yes.
anytime we get feedback is a good thing.
Not only
Yes.
opinions, but like some shit to back it up. Because Brian, he backed that shit up. He
Uh-huh.
had fucking answers for everything. Check out the
That's right.
realnewsonline.com. Check him out, man. He was great. One of the best guests we've had on this show by far.
He has looked into it all, at
Yes.
least. Like
Oh,
whatever
yes.
he believes, he has looked into it. He has done his research.
That's right. So, for Nick Ryder, for Brandon the Hard Hat Mitchell, I'm Low saying, that's right.